Football season is back. Let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool at RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. RunYourPool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and a lot more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with one-week games, full season, playoffs, or the Super Bowl. And unlike other fantasy sports platforms, they've got options and settings to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for your local business, bar, alumni, or restaurant. The NFL season starts September 9th, so check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast or use promo code podcast at checkout. Have your pool up and running in minutes at runyourpool.com/podcast. Don't forget, today you get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Very, 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 Mickey, Fishy, fishy!
You are listening to the Voices of Wrestling podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
X out, go listen to some boring podcast where they're afraid of their own shadow. Okay? Don't listen to Joe Lanza, because Joe Lanza's not changing.
And Rich Craich.
I like him. Who delivers this guy in a big spot?
Joe, don't yell at me. I like him.
In the big spot, who delivers better than this guy?
Stop yelling at me. I agree.
Hey, there I am. Okay, sorry. People weren't hearing me, so you were just a psychopath talking to yourself there for a second. Hello.
That hasn't happened in years.
Yeah, I don't know why. So this program that I use sometimes just decides, Rich, your input, we don't know what it is. And this microphone has never been unplugged. It has never once been unplugged. It's always here. It's the same program. It's the same thing every single time. But it always does it. So anyway, for people that did not hear, I call Joe a pleasant and non-toxic man. Because he's always here with me. And I'm Rich, Voice of Wrestling, Flagship Podcast. We're live.
That's a callback. That's in the business, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
They call that a callback. So, but if someone didn't listen to that show where we went over my doctor's report, they'd be very confused. But I like that. You mixed it up. You didn't go with the generic king of banter. I find that to be lazy. So I'm glad that you went with something new here.
I apologize for
my
laziness.
I like the lazy intro, But yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Who I definitely didn't talk to for 20 minutes.
I am doing okay, Joe. I'm doing okay.
All right.
I suppose, yeah.
You ready for some Giants versus Washington football team?
Washington football team is my favorite football team. So yeah, I cannot wait. Bated breath for the Red Hogs versus the So I don't watch football anymore. I have actually no dog in this fight for the Washington football team name. Just keep it as the Washington football team. That's not a bad name, right?
I have advocated for just keeping Washington football team.
It's kind of classy. It's got a classy look to it. They got a classy logo. The W is kind of a classy thing. I like it. It's not bad.
It's grown on me. I like football team. It's
like a professional I wish it was. Are they still terrible and still a disaster?
Excuse me, sir. They're the NFC East defending champions.
Oh, okay, all right.
At 7-9.
Oh, is that true? So,
yes.
Well, hey, I guess they're not as bad as the other team. Okay, that's good to know. Because I was going to say it's like a professional run operation. Then I forgot that I think they're still run by Daniel Snyder, right? So one of the least professional guys in the NFL. I don't know. Does he still have that reputation, or has he turned things around in
nobody likes
DC? I still. Absolute jackass that nobody likes, right?
No, everybody hates his guts, yeah. Yeah, well, we got some Daniel Jones versus Tyler Heineke action tonight.
Are those real people?
Those are real people,
Who's Daniel Heineke? Who's that?
No. You combine the two names there.
Oh.
It's Taylor Heineke.
Okay.
The starting quarterback for your defending NFC East champion, Washington football team. Do I put an S on it? Your Washington football teams?
Oh, it's a weird one. Washington I guess Washington football team.
Like,
team's,
okay, like
yeah, you're saying the possessive. It would be your Washington football team's quarterback. Yeah, it's strange, but yeah, no, you'd have to do that.
like Saquon Barkley says, "Oh, I'm a Giant." Does Tyler Heineke say, "I'm a football team"?
Yeah, I'm a Washington football team guy.
You're the whole team? Like, that'd be confusing, for someone who doesn't know what's going on. But that's the only area where football team gets a little tricky. But yeah, I didn't think you'd be tuning in to this.
No Thursday night, no Thursday night football for me. No real NFL for me these days. It's I mean, occasionally if it gets like deep into the winter, deep into the fall, like I'll throw it on a Sunday or whatever. But I mean, I really enjoy not watching football these days on Sundays because it opens up. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. It is amazing. If I time it during a Bears game, then I go do anything. I go grocery shopping. I go what we talked about last week, apple picking. You that orchard is yours on a Bears Sunday, man. There is nobody else there. There's nobody else doing it. And the only time that it does bite me in the ass is if I'm not aware of when the Bears game was. So say we go apple picking or whatever, and I don't know that the Bears have a bye week, or the Bears are on Sunday Night Football, or they're on Monday Night Football, or whatever. That is the busiest apple orchard you've ever been to. And we've talked about this gimmick before, and it's a good gimmick by the men of the Chicagoland area, because what they'll probably do is they wake up Sunday and they know goddamn well the Bears aren't playing until 7 or play until Monday or whatever, and they wake up and they're probably sipping their morning coffee and eating their bacon and go, "Honey, you want to go to the apple orchard today?" And she goes, "Well, what about the football game?" And he goes, "Forget the football game." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is your day, honey. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Bring the kids. Let's go. We're going apple pick." You know what I mean? And like, he knows goddamn well what he's doing.
That's the bye-week hustle.
Right. And it's like that apple orchard is as packed as it's ever. I mean, there are 10,000 people there, and you can see the guys. They're Sunday football guys, but they're hey, honey, this weekend's you. Who cares about the Bears? Who cares about football? This one's for you. And she's gonna find out when she comes home that they're on Sunday Night Football and all the guys are coming over and all that sort of stuff. But it's a good hustle. I enjoy it.
I can't. First of all, I can't believe you're still on this apple orchard nonsense from last week. Second of all, I think that the following statement: "I love when the Bears play because that apple orchard is all yours."
Yep.
Is the least masculine thing you've
That's
ever
fine.
said.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that.
Come on, man. Will you stay home and open up one of your fancy craft beers and watch a couple quarters of football?
The Bears? I'm not watching the Bears. I'll watch some other football. I'm not watching the Bears. I'm not wasting my time with that anymore.
Instead of going apple picking in the orchard? What's wrong with you?
Here you go. It's an equity buy. What you're doing here is I don't care about football, so I will go and do whatever bullshit stuff she wants to do in the fall and the winter, and that buys me time for wrestling. It buys me time for basketball. It buys me time for all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about football, so it's a great equity buy. It's a future investment. It's an investment in that orchard. You're not buying it.
I'm disgusted.
I also enjoy the apples. I like apples a lot, so. What's your favorite apple, Joe?
I don't have a favorite apple, Rich.
You're not an apple fan? You don't like any apples?
Apples are fine. I don't have a favorite apple. It'd be like asking me, I don't know, what's your favorite, something else that I'm completely indifferent on. Like, I don't have a favorite fucking
I can't believe
apple.
you're indifferent on apples. That's what a great fruit that you're just letting go by the wayside.
What is your fascination with apples?
They're fantastic. It's the fall. It's the apple season, man. I eat apple. I honestly, you would make fun of me for the amount of apples that I eat in a given week. So many people make fun of me. I eat apples and peanut butter for lunch sometimes.
I don't have a problem with apples, but it's not something where I'm like, I have a favorite specific breed of apple.
Yeah, because you're not getting in there. You're not getting into those orchards and trying the different breeds. I
will never
You're
get in
eating
an
Red
apple orchard.
Delicious and Granny Smith like an absolute chump. You got to get jazz apples, man. You got Honeycrisp. You got a whole world out there.
No, you know what I'm going to do?
Fuji apples, great apples. Rainier apples, fantastic.
No, I'm going to watch the National Football League this weekend like a normal human being. I'm not going to go picking different breeds of apples. I mean, you do it. Listen, you knock your socks off. All I'm saying is, in this area, we couldn't be more different people. You actually said out loud, "I love when football's on because that orchard is all yours, baby." That came out of your mouth.
It did.
That kind of statement would never come out of my mouth. Like We couldn't be further apart.
Yeah, we agree on 98% of the things we talk about on a given week usually, but yeah, that is as far apart as we've maybe ever been on anything.
We couldn't be more further apart if you came on this show and were like, Joe, I got to tell you, I checked it out, and that Choco Pro, it is something else.
I'll tell you,
big fan.
Lulu Pencil is killing it in that dentist's office, man. It is awesome stuff.
That's the only way we could be further apart right now, is if you came on the air and said that. Because let me tell you something. If it came down to sitting down for 3 hours of that Choco Pro nonsense or going apple picking, Rich, I'm right with you. Show me the Fiji
there
apples.
There it is.
Just show me the Fiji apple.
Like Fuji.
Whatever the fuck. Just show me the fucking Grandfather Smiths, whatever.
Granny Smiths. Those are the generic ones. You know that.
I know the only one I know that I could probably pick out of a lineup is the Red Delicious.
Yeah, which are the
classic,
fucking worst. The worst of the apples.
But it's the classic apple shape, so I know what that one is.
It is if you're giving your teacher an apple that is like on a movie, would be a Red Delicious shape. They would hear, teacher. Here's an apple with one leaf on it. Here you go.
Yeah, with the leaf on the stem.
Right.
And it's the one where you breathe on it and rub it on your shirt. And then rub it on the shirt to shine it up. Like that gimmick. Do you do that with your apples? Do you do this?
No, I tend to wash them in the sink. I don't rub them on the shirt. But I did. I did recently.
You got to do the hot breath first. You got to go, and then rub it on your shirt to like shine it up, right? Do you do that with an apple?
No, not really. I more wash it under water.
So you're not buying it from a street vendor in the 1930s.
No, I'm not going to Maxwell Street and buying it from a vendor.
And then shining it up on your filthy shirt that you haven't washed.
Get back to the railroad. Yeah, get back to my railroad job now. Yeah.
Right. You come out of the mine and
eat an apple and then go back to the mine. Yeah.
Rub the apple on your dirty fucking soot-covered mine shirt, and then take a big bite out of your Red Delicious apple, which is the least delicious of the apples. The Red Delicious.
For sure.
Apple, right?
No doubt.
It's very grainy. It's grainy.
Yes,
and,
it's a bad texture, a bad taste. It's just one of the worst apples, really. Honestly, I can't think of one that's any worse.
See, I think I know more about the apples than you think.
You're letting on a lot more for Mr. High and Mighty about the apples here. You're starting to you're aware that Red Delicious are not good. Grandfather Smiths, I think is what you called Granny Smiths, but you were in the same category, so
Granny, grandfather. Listen. Apples are genderless.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't see gender in your apples, which is
it's a non-binary apple. So you can call it the granny, the grandfather. So it doesn't make a difference. We all knew what I was talking about. So yeah, I mean, I have not. Again, Rich, you're not understanding me. I have nothing against the apple. I think it's real weird that you look forward to football season so it clears out the orchard for your apple picking. That part I can't get with that. Will I sit here and eat an apple if you hand me one? Sure. No problem.
Yeah, it's I admit it's bizarre, and I've had many friends that have questioned this, but that's fine. They can go get miserable with Andy Dalton and
for a long time because this was a thing like many years ago. You got ripped for going out and picking fruit, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. That was before this show even. But before the show is this, you got ripped for going out and your propensity to go picking fruit. And this is 2 weeks in a row now.
I've picked. I mean, this summer I picked blueberries. I've picked cherries. It's great. It's a great activity. Get out there, get with nature. You know where your food's coming from, Joe. Farm to table, as the kids say.
Oh God, gross! I want you to.
You should see my backyard. You want some peppers? I got a lot of peppers in the backyard. If you need any of those.
I don't care about your horticulture.
Okay.
Listen, what I want you to do is go get a 6-pack of your fancy craft beers. Do they come in 6-packs? Is that how that works?
A lot of them come in 4s. Yeah, a lot come in 4s. But no, some come in 6. Some come in 6. Some come in 4s. It's fine. The big cans will come in 4s. A fancy 6-pack will come in. Will happen too. So that's okay.
Of course, these fucking wacky millennial breweries have to be different and do it in 4s. Okay, but go get a 4-pack of your dopey craft beer. Get yourself a cigar or something.
I have a cigar right here. I got a cigar right here. I'm right here. Got it right. I'm waiting for a good moment, but it's right here. It's in my hand.
I'm going to tell you the moment. Okay. And just sit down this weekend at some point. It doesn't have to be an NFL game. It could be a college football game.
I'll watch college football.
It could be the golf. I don't care what it is. sit down on your couch, tell that wife of yours, today is rich day. I'm not picking any fruit. Okay, we're not driving to some mountain. We're not fucking riding bikes. I'm smoking this cigar. I'm drinking these beers. 2 things I don't even do, but I'm telling you to do them. And he's telling her I'm not shaving. I'm not showering. And I'm not moving off this couch. And I'm going to watch this sporting event.
That sounds terrible. That sounds like the worst way to spend a day, but all right.
No, that you need to do that because every now and then you just have to reclaim your masculinity a little. That's all. I'm not asking you to go take up MMA training and fucking, buy a motorcycle. Okay. Just take a day and do that instead of picking apples. Is that really too much to ask? Just do it.
How much football do I have to watch?
You will feel your testosterone.
Yeah.
Levels
how much football? I don't
body.
really, I mean, I do that during like basketball. I mean, I'll do that during baseball season, a World Series game. I'll do that during basketball, NBA finals. I'm just not that interested in doing it for football.
Listen, it doesn't have to be football.
Okay, all right. I can do that. I can do that I just don't want to sit and watch football all day. That sounds like a waste of a Sunday. So
put on the golf. DeChambeau, Morikawa. I don't know who's fucking playing this weekend. Put on the fucking. I don't even know if there's a golf event this week. There's always a PGA Tour event.
I'm sure there's something going on somewhere. Yeah.
Anything, please.
What about if I watch the IndyCar? If I watch the IndyCar, does that count?
Listen, I don't understand the auto racing myself, and it's not my bag, but I'll take it. Like that for the point of this exercise, go right ahead. Yeah. Anything but apple picking, please. How often can you go apple picking?
Not that often. They're not ready yet. The good apples are not ready yet, actually.
God.
You got to wait a little bit.
It's like when it's prime apple picking.
They're just not ready. I'm telling you, they're not ready yet. I can go to I'll go to the my favorite orchard. I will put that in and let you know when they're ready. So here you go.
Someone's telling you to go work on your car.
Yeah, I was going to say
no.
Like Joe Land, I mean, like that is not your idea of masculinity because you're good.
I am never working on a car. Like
right.
no shot. Like someone's getting paid to do that. I am not working on a car.
Yeah, the nurse's battery on her car died, and we called her dad to come over. I helped supervise and hold stuff.
Fuck that.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I'll come over. You want to do it?" And I'm like, "No, you got it. You're good. You're on a roll."
Yeah, I would stand there and adjust my belt.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it. One time I tried to like jump start a car and I put the fucking clamps on the wrong thing and it sparked and that was the end of that.
Okay, I can do that at least. That's
no more. Like I guessed wrong and did the cross on a fucking positive on the negative or whatever the fuck. And no more of that anymore either. So if my car battery dies, I'm just leaving the car on the side of the road and starting over is basically how I'm going to handle that. So, yeah, no, I don't suggest working on cars or doing things around the house. Let's not get it twisted here. I just, sometimes you need to sit down and, enjoy some men playing with balls. You have to sometimes. Someone will clip that for sure.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
but,
for sure. But, yeah, so the orchard is not, as I said, none of the apples are ready for picking yet. So there's no point in doing it. But, speaking of, I forget if I told this story to you off the air or on the air, but this apple orchard that I went to, the one that I like to go to the most, ran into I think he's a Hall of Famer, maybe he's a baseball Hall of Famer. Jim Tomei was at this apple orchard too, and he's a manly man, right?
You ran into Jim Tomei.
Yeah, would you consider Jim Tomei a manly man? Because he was there at apple picking with his family as well. So
he's got a strong chin. I would say so.
It was a hell. So yeah, like so, you know what Jim Tomei looks like. If anybody doesn't, just look up Jim Tomei or whatever. So. We're walking in this apple orchard. Yeah, exactly. He's fucking massive. He's like legit 6'4", 6'5", or whatever. So we're walking around this apple orchard, and all of a sudden we see this guy lifting his child. Like he just grabs him by the back and just lifts him up like this. And this is like not like a 2-year-old that we're talking about here. This kid's like 8. You know what I mean? He just lifts him up to get some apple from the top of the tree or whatever. And I'm with Michelle, and she just points and she goes, "That big dude looks like Jim Tomei." I said, I think that is Jim Tomei. And as we walk, like, he knows that you know what I mean? Like, he knows we're giving him the look. We're giving him the once over, and he knows, yeah, these guys know I'm Jim Tomei or whatever. So he walks by, and he just goes, "Hey, how's it going? How are you?" I was like, "Hey, how's it going?"
He broke the ice.
Right, because he knew, like, these assholes, like, I'm just going to say something to them. And then, yeah, I didn't say anything. I mean, I wasn't like, big fan or whatever. Just like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it going?" Yeah, whatever. But, like, yeah, it was a pretty fun moment to bump into old Jim Tomei while you're picking apples, so...
He wanted to get that over with as soon as possible,
so we could go watch the game.
Yeah, he didn't want to feel your eyes on him the whole time, so he just got it out of the way and approached you. I like that move.
Yeah, it's a good move. Yeah, it's a good move because he clearly knew that. Like, and it's funny because I don't think that many other people knew because he doesn't like unless you're like a real. I mean, other than like being like 6'5" or whatever, which obviously he's larger than most human beings look. You would just think he's like a big dude. You know what I mean? Because he's obviously not in tremendous shape anymore. He's fine. He's still in good shape, but not like he's not jacked out of his mind. He just looked like a normal dude or whatever, wearing a hat. You couldn't, but yeah, he could tell that we knew that he was Jim Tomei. I was wearing like a White Sox hat and like a shirt or whatever, so he's like, this fucker knows that I'm Jim Tomei. I'll just say hi and get it over with. So that was good.
It breaks the tension. He doesn't feel like he's got two sets of eyes on him the whole time. He's probably a veteran at this. It happens all the time, probably. So I do think that's a good move. Why don't you sit out here? I got an idea for you.
Yeah, what do you got?
You don't want to watch football. That's fine. Why don't you sit down and watch that '86 Mets documentary?
Oh, I am gonna sit down and watch. I think I've seen every 30 for 30 ever. I even watched the dopey soccer ones. Yeah. I'm obsessed with the 30 for 30s. It does not matter what it is. Like I'll watch any 30 for 30 because they're all really fucking good. Like I can't even tell you like what my quote unquote least favorite one is. I think maybe that Maguire Sosa one's like my least favorite one just because it was kind of vapid and stuff. But no, I could do that. So yeah, that's like a many part one, right?
Yeah, several parts. Yeah, I think only part one has aired so far, but I think they might all be up on the app. I'm not sure.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, I can do that. That sounds good.
There you go.
I'll watch a sports doc. Yeah.
86 Mets. I mean, that's one of those teams where I could probably name 20 of the 25 players on that team, the whole starting lineup, the starting rotation. They were a big fucking deal growing up in Jersey that year. I was a little kid, but really a legendary team. I'd say for this generation of New York sports, honestly, that's probably that would be probably the team for this generation of New York sports fans, even more than any of the Yankee teams, any of the Giants Super Bowl winners, the Ranger team that finally won the Cup. That one would be close.
Yeah, I was going to say, 94 Rangers, right?
Yeah, but I really think it would be that 86 Met team. I really do. The New York athlete of this generation would be Jeter, but the team would be that 86 Met team. That was just they just they owned the city. They really did. But so I'm looking forward to that document. And they were lunatics. I mean, they're all
cokeheads. It's Lenny Dykstra and Keith Hernandez, and you got the calming presence of Gary Carter, but that's not going to be enough to deal with all these other maniacs. Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry.
They were all fucking Kevin Mitchell. I mean, they were all doing
Mitchell
coke.
Was there too. Jesus
they're all
Christ.
doing coke. They were fucking women during the games, like fucking fans. Like it's just complete maniacs. Yeah. I mean, completely out of control. Yeah, Carter was the catcher, Hernandez at first, Tim Tuffle and Wally Backman split second base. Rafael Santana.
Oh, Wally Backman, I forget he's a fucking maniac too. Still to this day.
Psycho,
right.
complete psycho. Rafael Santana at short. Ray Knight, who, he'll throw fists at a moment's notice at third base. Strawberry in right, Mookie Wilson in center. Left field, George Foster until August. Yeah. They traded Foster. That was an ugly split. And then Kevin Mitchell took over. And then you had Gooden, Ron Darling, Sid Fernandez, and Bob Ojeda. Great rotation. And then you had Rick Aguilera and Jesse Orosco coming out of the bullpen. Orosco, of course, that iconic tossing the glove up in the air after the final out of the World Series. The bench, you had Danny Heap, Howard Johnson might have been, because they got rid of Ray Knight in the offseason to make room for Howard Johnson, who was a big prospect they got from Detroit. And then Howard Johnson, he may have been the first 30-30 man as a third baseman in baseball history. I think there's been a couple since. I'm sure A-Rod did it at some point or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think Howard Johnson was the first, and he may still be the only one because A-Rod may have done it as a shortstop. I don't know that he was stealing 30 bags.
Oh, yeah, that's right. By the time he went to the Yankees, by the time he was at the Yankees, they probably weren't letting him steal bases anymore. So
yeah, so Howard Johnson to this day might be the only 30-30 man as a third baseman. I can't think of another one unless we're forgetting someone obvious. But no, yeah, I remember that team, and I was a little kid, and I vivid memories. I remember when they traded for Keith Hernandez in '85, and I specifically remember his first game as a Met. they showed him in the dugout, and there was like a beam, like a wooden beam in the dugout. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember Keith Hernandez jumping up on that beam and doing pull-ups on the wooden beam in the dugout and just swinging back and forth on the fucking wooden beam. And I have no clue why I've retained that memory. Ask me who was on the last WWE pay-per-view.
Right, yeah, but you remember that in 1984, Keith Hernandez was swinging from a wooden beam in the dugout of an innocuous regular season baseball game.
Yeah, but I remember that, because I remember the Keith Hernandez trade. They got him from the Cardinals being such a big deal, at school and in the papers and everything, because I was a little psychopath. As a 9 and 10-year-old, I was bringing the sports section to the
same way too. Yeah, I was the same. Idiot.
But I could run off that whole Met team. I don't know the Red Sox team they beat in the World Series as well. I mean, Roger Clemens and Oil Can Boyd in the rotation. Bruce Hurst, I think, was the other big starter for that team. Bill Buckner at first, obviously, and I think they traded for Spike Owen and Dave Henderson in August. So Spike Owen was the shortstop. Second baseman was I could picture him in my head. Marty Barrett. I think it was Marty Barrett.
That is right. Yeah, that is right. I'm looking. I don't know too many people from this team. I know these guys.
Let me see how much I can. Let me see if I can run the table here with them, because I know I got the Mets right. Boggs at third, of course. In the outfield, you would have had Darrell Evans and right.
Yeah, it's an old outfield.
Old outfield. Jim Rice in left.
Yep.
Again, they acquired Dave Henderson late, so he beat the Angels in Game 6 with that home run. But I don't know who the other center fielder would have been. Who's the other center fielder?
Tony Armas.
Oh, Tony Armas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. And let me think. What didn't I say? Just the catcher, right? The catcher.
I don't think you got the shortstop either.
Well, they traded for Spike.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I got.
I think he took over the job because they really were looking for a shortstop.
They had a bunch of guys. Ed Romero looks like he had a bunch of games there too. I don't know it. I don't know this team very well. And then there was another guy that there's a few dudes that split shortstop.
Yeah, they got Spike Owen and Dave Henderson from the Mariners at the trade deadline or something like that. But the catcher. Oh, Rich Gedman was the catcher.
That is the guy. There you go. You got it.
And the funny thing about Buckner blowing the ground ball, and the bullpen, of course, Calvin Schiraldi and all those guys. But the funny thing about Buckner blowing that ground ball was all year long, okay, they would take Buckner out.
Right, he had rickety knees at that point. He couldn't bend.
He couldn't bend over.
He couldn't bend over. So anytime it was late in the game, they would take him out because they would, hey, we don't want the game to come down to a ground ball at Buckner because he can't bend over. So Buckner would leave, and then they put a new guy in there.
Yeah, and I can't think of the guy's name who was the backup first baseman. If you give me a second, I'll come up with it. But my point here is they would take Buckner out anytime they were leading. Dave Stapleton. Is it Dave Stapleton?
I have no clue. Yeah,
I thought you were looking at it though. Are you still looking at it?
I'm doing my best to try to figure out how you could tell who.
Well, if you pull up if you pull up Dave Stapleton and check his game logs, I guarantee you.
All right, let's see here.
I guarantee you, Dave Stapleton, who was a terrible hitter, only was a late inning defensive replacement at first base for Buckner.
He has a lot of putouts and a lot of games finished. Yeah, okay, yeah. So from April, pretty much he played, let's see here. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, 8 games all year, and then finished another like 37 games. So he'd come in mostly 8th inning, sometimes 9th inning to finish
in
the
games
game.
That they won, and mostly wins.
Yeah, all win. Almost all. Yeah, he was 28-1 that year. So.
And they carried Stapleton on the postseason roster. And I remember he was a completely inept hitter. I think he had like 5 or 6 hits all year. But he would come in to play the 8th and 9th because Buckner literally could not bend over.
He did it in the Game 5. I remember that vividly, that going back and researching and reading about that, they did it in the World Series too. It's not like when the World Series came, they're like, all right, well, Buck, we trust you, pal. No, in Game 1, Game 2, and Game 5, they replaced him.
So what happened was Buckner wanted to be on the field when they won. So that's why they kept him in that game. It would, and in any other circumstance, Dave Stapleton would have come in the game. But here's the thing.
It didn't matter either. It would have the game was tied anyway. You know what I mean? He catches that ball perfectly, runs over to first base. It's a tie game going to the 10th.
Exactly. That's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that by then it was already a tie game because of the wild pitch. They tied the game on the wild pitch, and then they won.
And they gave up. Yeah, they gave up what 4 runs or 5 runs or whatever. It's like, yeah, it was a fucking disaster. That was just the one that capped it off. It's the same thing as with the Cubs with the Bartman thing. You know, people are like, oh, the Bartman. It's like, all right, well, yeah. The Bartman thing happened, but then like they had to give up like 7 more runs after that. You know what? It's not like everybody always kind of focuses on the one thing, and it's been horrible for Buckner obviously his entire life. And I think finally now that they've won 4 or 5 titles or whatever since then, people have let it go a little bit. But yeah, I mean that dude had to go into he had to become a recluse because and it's just like people hyper focused on that. And yeah, it was a terrible play and it sucked and it was like they lost the game, but yeah, they were on their way to losing that game anyway. I mean, could they have won it in the 10th? Yeah, maybe, but. They were blowing it anyway, so it's yeah.
He's also dead now, Buckner. But
oh, did he die? I actually didn't know. I don't remember that.
Yeah, Bill Buckner's dead. Yeah, this isn't a Barbara Bush thing. He's dead.
You're
I know
positive Bill Buckner is dead. Yeah,
Bill Buckner.
I mean, I trust you. I trust you to know that.
Bill Buckner is dead as a fucking doornail. I guarantee it. This one, I will stake
May 27th, 2019. Bill Buckner passed away. So
yeah, and I think we talked about it.
I'm sure we did. I'm positive we did. Yeah, there's no way we didn't.
When Hank Aaron hit his record-breaking home run against the Dodgers, Buckner was the left fielder who scaled the wall.
Yeah. We definitely talked about that for sure.
We did. That's how I know we talked, and we talked about it when he died. I think Don Baylor was on that Red Sox team too. I think he was the DH. They had that was a veteran team.
Very old, yeah.
With the exception of Clemens. That was
whereas the Mets, team. Everybody was 21, and that's why they were fucking maniacs. It's like, you had Gary Carter was the only guy that, God, can you imagine? I mean, not that not that Gary was the cleanest man in the world, but, I just cannot imagine, a 33-year-old in that locker room just being like, what in the fuck is going on here? Because even Hernandez, who was a little older at that time, was an absolute maniac. But then you had Strawberry and Gooden, and those guys were like 20 and 21 years old. And Lenny Dykstra, who's an absolute fucking psychopath. He was like 21, 22 at that time, too. So, yeah, that's got to be just an insane team. So, yeah, I'm excited about that 30 for 30.
Yeah, Lenny Dykstra homered in his first at-bat of his career. I remember that too. I remember watching that game. Yeah. I have the weirdest memories of it. Tom Seaver was on that Red Sox team too.
So I think he got hurt. I don't think he pitched for them in the World Series. I think he got hurt, which absolutely has to suck to be Tom Seaver and then go, all right, I'm going to go to the Red Sox, and then the team that you're synonymous with goes and wins the World Series while you're on the other team. That had to suck a little.
Yeah. So you're going to watch that documentary?
Oh, absolutely. I watch every 30 for 30. Like I said, I'll watch even the soccer ones. I think I've literally, if I go through, I'm pretty sure I've seen every 30 for 30 at this point. So, they're all tremendous, right? I mean, I don't know how many of them you watch, but
what the 30 for 30s? Yeah. I've watched the ones that look interesting to me.
Which we're now at like 90 of these 30 for 30s. The original idea is long gone, but that's all right. I appreciate it.
Did you hear that Bill Simmons story where he said they were plotting because he came up with the 30 for 30 concept,
right? Yeah.
And when he was still at ESPN, he found out because I forget the story. Like he accidentally got an email, TNA style or something, where they were planning like 40 for 40s or something without him, with like a different creative guy. And he's like, "What the fuck is this? What's happening here?" But I don't think it ever came off. But the concept was 30 years of ESPN, 30 documentaries. Like that was the original concept, right? And it's like, it didn't make it doesn't make sense to keep doing. That was like 15 years ago.
That was 2010. Yeah, that they stopped that. That was
11 years ago.
Yeah, that was everybody was supposed to pick 1 year, and then they were gonna cover a story from that 1 year. So they talked to the guy that did the director, and he's like, I covered 1994 because the OJ trial and the NBA finals, and and then they got like 1993 is like Michael Jordan retiring from baseball or retiring from basketball and joining baseball, and that's what it was. And then after that, they're just like, we'll just make documentaries about sports. That's fine. So yeah, that was 2010 was the last. Pony Excess was supposed to be the last one, December of 2010, and that's
I like that one.
That one's great. Yeah, speaking of cocaine, Pony Excess.
Eric Dickerson and Craig James.
Yeah,
the Pony Express. Yep. SMU. You better read an ad or something because I'll talk about SMU.
No, that's fine. No, I probably told you this in our old forum days. This is not the show. People are probably wondering, is this the show that they're just going to talk about random shit for 3 hours? And it might be. We don't know. We're still going. But I'm sure I told you this in our old forum days, our old sports video game forum days.
Yeah.
But one time I was playing the NCAA football game, and I don't know, I don't know, 07, 08, sometime around there, sometime around that time period. And I was going through my season, and I was simming through it, and I was going through, and I was playing on the hard difficulty because I didn't want to win every game. You know what I mean? I like to, have a challenge and not win every, national title. So I get to the national title game, and I'm not in it, so I just simmed through it. And I look, and Southern Methodist University in like 2008 just destroys Alabama, just blows the doors off, and wins the fucking national championship, undefeated, just cruising through. I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
they must have been cheating again.
I don't know what. Yeah, I was like, what the hell happened here? Like, how the hell did SMU just like, in 2009 just go, all right, guys, fuck it, let's go. Like, let's get this thing off the road again. So
I think because those games were way more broken than we like to admit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually you got a pretty good, but yeah, that was the most wild one ever, where it's like, congratulations to Southern Methodist University on their national championship. I'm like, what?
I thought June Jones was going to turn them around a few years ago, but
yeah.
Wasn't meant to be.
Nah.
Did you watch that 7-part history of the Falcons by
yeah, I'm like 3 or 4 through that.
Yeah, I'm working my way through it too. They always do a nice job with those too.
Secret Base, yeah, is the
Secret Base,
yeah. The former SB Nation YouTube channel is now Secret Base, yeah.
Right. But because that's a little bit of June Jones there, right?
Absolutely, love my June Jones, yeah.
Jerry Glanville, June Jones,
big Hawaii guy, you know that.
Absolutely.
The University of Hawaii and their new parking lot stadium they have to play in this year because their Aloha Stadium has been condemned or whatever. You're like not allowed to go into the stadium. Like,
I think they're going to have to demolish it, right?
Yeah, I think some guy came and was like, no. This thing's done. No more, ever. This thing is falling apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only is it on a volcanic island, but it's also just falling apart. It's made of wood. Like, what are we doing here?
What, are they playing on campus? What are they doing?
They're playing. It's like a converted soccer field on campus or something like that. It's not good. It's like, I think it fits like 10,000 people or whatever. Which, I mean, honestly, it's probably fine for the current state of the Rainbow Warriors. So
no, they're not good. They're not good. And they have no identity because they don't. They're not throwing it all over the lot like they used to. So if you're not good and you have no identity, you're basically just unwatchable at that point. So those late night Hawaii games, I don't even think they're really airing them.
They rarely do. Yeah, I have my DVR set to record them, and they'll record like the week 1 because like they're the only one, or they always play on like week 0 or whatever. Yeah, and then I get like 2 more a year really, but yeah, they don't really air them too often. So
yeah,
because late night you can do. You got USC, you got all Pac-12 stuff that you can throw on late night, and
Pac-12, Mountain West. To find Hawaii, sometimes you got to go on those weird like stadium, like those weird.
Yeah. It's just some like 3 camera feed. It's just awful,
Yeah. No, but it definitely isn't the Colt Brennan days. With
no. Tommy Chong is not walking through that door, unfortunately. So.
Tommy Chang,
that's right.
Tommy Chung's a very different person.
Yeah, well, he's not walking through that door either. But
no, neither one of them are walking through that door. Neither is Colt Brennan, who is also dead. So,
right, yeah. That's when we discovered. I this was offline for sure that we discovered that pretty much every Hawaii quarterback is a criminal at some point. So.
Yeah, they all have a
It was not good. We were looking and it was like, well, what about, well, he assaulted his girlfriend. And what about this guy? Okay, he did. It was just like one by one.
This guy's dead. This
guy's
in prison.
It was not a good run. Not a good run.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. As much as I'd like to talk about SMU and 30 for 30s, I guess we should get to this. Wrestling
we could keep marching through every 1980s World Series and running off the rosters.
I'm not opposed.
One day. Today's not the day.
Yeah. Why am I blanking on the 1988 World Series? Because 89. Okay. Oh, Kirk Gibson. Right. Because 89 is the earthquake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was mixing up 88. Yeah, 88's the
Eckersley
giving up the dinger.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
To a crippled Kirk Gibson.
He can't run, yeah.
Who won MVP that year with he couldn't have been worth more than 2 WAR.
Yeah, just a classic. This guy he rallied the team. You know what I mean? Like he got them to where they needed to go, and it's like, all right. All right.
Yeah.
Classic staples of old MVPs. Yeah, go, dude. I would definitely not advise if you're a baseball fan. Don't go look at old MVPs Because it'll make you kind of, because you're just like, what the fuck, like this guy, and then like you realize like these guys they weren't looking at on base, they were looking at WAR, they were looking sometimes at RBIs, and other times like, yeah, he's a good leader. They're a good team, and he's a good leader. So.
And he plays shortstop.
Right, he plays the good positions. Yeah, he plays second base for the best team in the league. He's a team leader, and it's like,
I love our 1920s newsreel.
Yeah, I don't know why it's 1988. It's the fucking afternoon paper reporter, the afternoon daily.
Yeah, Gibson
yeah.
Gibson was way better in '88 than we think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
6.5 WAR.
Yeah, there you go. So he was just a limp at the time. He just couldn't run anymore.
I think I think we fell into the trap that we just made fun of because he hit 25 homers and had 76 RBIs, but he got on base at a 377.
Oh, hey, look at this. Not bad. Yeah.
Have we been misjudging that Kirk Gibson year all?
Maybe we have. Yeah, because that's
because that people usually think of that as like the worst MVP winner ever, but if you look at, he deserved it.
Yeah, he's right up there. Yeah, you're not giving it to Will Clark. Give it to Will Clark. Give a shit. Yeah, that's a good MVP year. That's good.
He had as good a year as anyone. You know what? We apologize.
I apologize, Kirk Gibson. Yes,
to the crusty sports writers of 1988 because they accidentally got that one right. They overlooked Strawberry's 39 bombs, okay, and they gave it to the right guy. Like you couldn't look. Strawberry wouldn't have been a bad pick. 39 homers, 911 OPS. But I think they got it right with Gibson. That isn't as bad as I thought. Man, all these years I thought that was a terrible MVP pick.
The AL is pretty fun here, too. So you got Canseco who wins it with 42 dingers, 124 RBIs, leads the league in both. Yeah, so he gets a 40-40 year. He's unanimous, 100% first place votes.
Yeah.
Wade Boggs, I don't know, man. That's a good-ass year from Wade, my man Wade Boggs. 366 batting average, 476 on base.
Yeah, and he slugged 500.
My man, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sick.
That's not bad, but Canseco's a pretty solid year, too. 40-40.
I'm not splitting hairs there.
World Series team, that's not bad, yeah.
I can't knock that. 40-40 was a real big deal when he did that year, too.
Gary Gaetti getting some votes. Good for him. All right. let's move on here. Actually, one second. I actually have to, one of my dogs is getting dental work done tomorrow, so I got to take his water bowl away. So can you give me one moment to take his water bowl away?
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, no food, no water. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tough break, yeah. Tough break, guy.
Rough night for him. Mike Greenwell finished second in the AL that year. He was on that 86 team as a young boy. I think he got called up in September. And then by 88, MVP contender here. Man, Kirk Gibson, much better year than I thought. As Rich takes away this water bowl. Voices of World Series Flagship, you are listening.
All right, we're here.
And there's Craig.
Yeah. Did you do a Q&A while I was gone?
Did a little Mike Greenwell talk.
Mike Greenwell. All right. I know nothing of Mike Greenwell, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, he was on that 86 Red Sox team as a young boy. Got called up in September. He was a good player in the league.
Did he last very long in the 90s? I don't remember him at all.
I don't think he had a super long career, but he was a good player. He was him and Ellis Burks.
I know Ellis Burks, man. Yeah, I know Ellis Burks. I got many Ellis Burks cards in this house now because I've reacquired all my because like baseball cards are crazy now, or they were crazy. I don't know if they're still crazy. So I went through and went through all my cards to see.
That was that next Red Sox core that
Yeah, well, I know Ellis Burks as a '93 White Sox, helping that team get all the way. I thought they were going to do it. They didn't quite do it.
Yeah, he played for the Rockies for a little while. Yeah. He bounced around. Ellis Burks, he was a good player too. Yeah.
Did they? Oh no, that was the year after. Okay. The White Sox let him go in the expansion draft to the Rockies, but I don't think so because they came in '93. So,
do you remember the Rockies' first pick in the expansion draft?
The Rockies' first pick in the expansion draft was, oh man, wasn't it? It wasn't Galarraga, right?
Nope.
It was somebody good though, right?
No.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
David Need.
Oh, yeah,
Atlanta Braves.
Right.
Yeah.
Not great. Yeah.
Didn't work out.
No, they were good though. They were good pretty quickly.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Now they've been bad for a while. They're going to be bad for a decade or so. But hey, it worked out all right for them. Dave Need, yeah. Dave Need. Let's remember some expansion guys. Be a good show.
Well, Marlins opening day starter.
Oh,
Charlie Huff.
Yeah, Charlie Huff. Yeah, got the strikeout on a pitch that could not have been further away from the strike zone.
He also was probably about 52 years old.
He was like 48. Yeah, because I'll DVR all those. MLB Network does like the seasons. Have you ever watched those on MLB Network? Yeah, they're really good. I have them all. I DVR. One time they did like an entire marathon. It was probably during Christmas or whatever. So I DVR and I have them all, and I will never delete them because they're great to like fall asleep to. I just put on like 1993, the season or whatever.
Yeah,
and yeah, they show Charlie Huff like running in spring training, and he's just like he's like fat as fuck, and like he's so old, like he's just.
Cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
He's like running, but you know what like a 48-year-old Charlie Huff running looks like. It wasn't he wasn't gallivanting much. He was not good strides. Yeah, they show him getting in there, and he's like, hell, let's go. He throws throws 3 knuckleballs. They call a strikeout one. It's like 27 feet out of the zone.
Ring him up.
Yeah, ring him up. Hey, the first strikeout in Florida Marlins history. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're bright green hats that they had at the time. They're bright teal hats.
Mm-hmm.
They were good too. I won the World Series. Now that I could do a let's remember some guys about the 97 Marlins. I love that team. Even as a kid, I love that team.
What, 98 when they won it? Or was it 97?
Nope.
97 or
97.
97. Oh, you're right. 97. Yeah.
I was a big Gary Sheffield guy, so
yeah.
As a kid, I mimicked my swing after Gary Sheffield, which you'd be surprised to know that I did not last past a couple years into Little League before they said, you should try another sport, maybe basketball. Maybe that'll work for you.
You didn't get the same results.
I did not get I didn't have the same bat speed that one Gary Sheffield had. So yeah, but
no.
Yeah, not a guy to recreate. The 90s was a bad era to like recreate swings of like your favorite players. Like, it's not like the 70s or the 80s where a lot of the guys had like real nice swings and real like Frank Thomas had a very weird swing. Like, my 3 favorite players were Frank Thomas, Ken Griffey, and Gary Sheffield. All like completely unrepeatable swings by any normal human being.
Yeah.
Like everybody did the Ken Griffey swing, and it's like not a good swing at all. Like, nobody should have that swing. It's a terrible, terrible swing, but we all grew up on that, so.
It was smooth for him.
It's very smooth for him, yeah.
Yeah, you just can't replicate it.
No, yeah, it was the Gary Sheffield thing for me. They're like, I'm moving the bat, and my coach is like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? You can't get around to a pitch because you're too busy wiggling your bat." And I'm like, "I don't know, that's what I do." And they're like, "Okay, well, this isn't going to work very well." So.
Yeah, you're not Chef.
No, I was not. No Gary Sheffield, but love that guy. Certainly
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
He's a Hall of Famer. Come on,
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I'm with you on that, but. That's a fun team. Okay, anyway. Should we talk wrestling?
I guess so.
All right, well, Monday Night Raw. Big E Langston cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Bobby Lashley, if people did not see this, you can watch the video and very easy to find here. Bobby Lashley defends the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Big E announces on Twitter prior to Raw that he's going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. He does. Bobby Lashley is limping after defeating Randy Orton. Then Big E comes in, hits the big ending, and wins the title, becoming your new WWE champion. A moment, Joe. They create a moment there on Monday. But ultimately, what do you think of Big E's cash-in? What do you think of the moment of Big E winning the title? And I guess maybe we could start out with, this is a guy that you and I are on record. Go back and listen to our old 2014 shows if you could find them. We are on record as screaming about this guy being a star for years and years and years and years. A guy that clearly had anything that you could possibly want. There's some stuff that we would change about the way he kind of carries himself in the ring and carries himself in promos and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, like, this guy had money written all over him for years and years and years and years. All the way back to 2014, all the way back to 2015, all the way back to those days. Finally, in 2021, they do it here. What do you think of the title win? And then we'll talk a little bit about the circumstances, the cash in, and kind of the Money in the Bank gimmick in 2021. Because I think it was a very interesting reaction from a lot of people on Monday, I thought. But what do you think of the cash in, and what do you think of Big E finally winning the title?
I think we've talked about it. We thought that eventually he would win this title. We've been calling for his push for a number of years, but I mean, is this going to be impactful? Is this going to be a true elevation? I have serious doubts, and I think obviously history is on our side if we say that we have serious doubts about whether this is just another meaningless WWE world title win or a true elevation. I mean, just a month ago at SummerSlam, he's working the pre-show. Okay. This was not any kind of sustained build and heating a guy up and getting him ready. This was just a typical Money in the Bank cash in, done for shock value, done to pop a rating. All those things are all well and good. I'm not saying you shouldn't do things to pop a rating, but it doesn't feel like a push for me. You have to question if they even would have done this if, it didn't happen to be time for Monday Night Football. So, and then the way he won it, Bobby Lashley has a match, a grueling match against Randy Orton, who's, presented as this all-time legend. He's got an injured leg that he injures in the Orton match. So Big E cashes in against a tired man with an injured leg. And it's like, that's a heel move. That's not something you do with a babyface. That's a heel title win. And that's kind of the inherent problem with the Money in the Bank concept, period. It's a heel gimmick.
It is. Yeah, the only one time that they really truly did it in a babyface way is, I don't know if you remember, that John Cena called his shot with the briefcase.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I think he beat Damian Sandow or what. I forget. No, he lost. He lost the match. I forget who he faced or whatever. But he was like, all right, next Monday on Raw, I'm cashing. I want my title match. And it's like, oh, okay. All right, and then the next Monday he had a title match, and I think he lost or something like that, or maybe he won. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? But
I know. I get what you're saying.
But 95% of the other ones are guy injured after a match, guy come in, guy cash in, guy win. You know what I mean? And with Edge, it was a heel move. With Daniel Bryan, multiple times it was a heel move. With CM Punk, multiple times it was a heel move. Pretty much for every other person, it's been a heel move. It's never presented as, the way that most people thought the original concept was going to be, is that you had the chance to, call your shot and say, hey, I want a title shot at, this pay-per-view at the end of this month or whatever. Once they realized that they could just have it be the shock value, oh my God, he's cashing in the Money in the Bank. It was always a heel move. It was always a heel tactic. And they've kind of stuck with that formula, save for, Cena. And then I think RVD did it once too, where he called a shot and cashed in then or whatever, a week later. But otherwise, 95% of the time, it's been surprise, guy getting screwed over, guy at the end of the match type of thing. For the Money in the Bank. And yeah, it's a heel. By its very nature, it's a heel tactic. Taking advantage of an injured opponent, to win the title is a heel move. It's just an absolute. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no, it's just you're a bad dude. You're a heel in that case. It's just 100% what it is.
And it's gonna get a pop because it's a title.
Oh yeah, always.
But it's, to me, look. And I saw everyone saying, oh, what a great moment it was and all this. And I was like, enough of this shit. I don't think it was a great moment. And I'm not trying to piss in Big E's cornflakes. I'm not trying to piss in any fans' cornflakes here. But is it a great moment? I mean, he beat a guy with an injured leg who was already tired. And, and I've been advocating for a Big E push for a long time. But a push, I would have preferred if they built the guy up, since he should have won Money in the Bank and then been built up since then. Mm-hmm. Okay, working the semi-main event at SummerSlam.
Which, by the way, just to let you know, this none of this stuff is this is just booking wrestling 101. This is booking 101. This is storytelling 101.
Even if you want to do the Money in the Bank gimmick, at least build the guy up.
Right. Everything that you're going to say here is not unreasonable to say. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, have a plan. Write the guy's name on a fucking whiteboard and say, all right, on September 8th. I mean, hell, when football's coming back too. Even if this was the moment that you wanted to do it, if this was the night that you wanted to do it, all you had to do was on a whiteboard say on September 15th or whatever the hell it was, or whatever, September 11th, whatever, Big E's going to cash in his Money in the Bank and he's going to win. All right, let's book to there. That's our point. That's where we're getting to. Now let's have that in mind. I mean, that would have been a 2-3 month build to that moment and that time.
And have him win it like a babyface hero. Don't have him win it like a cowardly heel.
Right. Say, Bobby Lashley, you've beaten everybody the last year and a half or whatever. You've beaten everybody that's come in front of you. This Monday on Raw, next week, I'm cashing in my Money in the Bank briefcase, you and me, for that title.
And then beat him the same way he beat him in 30 seconds. Yeah. But mano a mano. Not a Bobby Lashley tired from wrestling Randy Orton who's limping around on a bad leg. Rich, that tells you that they don't believe in Big E.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody that's going to argue with us, they had to protect Bobby Lashley in that moment.
Yes, they're more interested in protecting Bobby Lashley than Big E. Okay, and again, I think some people are going to hate this segment. They're going to think that I'm shitting on this alleged great moment. I want them to push Bobby Lashley. I'm disappointed with how this played out because it wasn't a great moment. It was typical WWE bullshit. Of course, people popped for it, but the way it was done, they're telling you that they're going back to Lashley. I mean, because that's who they protected here. And I would have much preferred he wins the briefcase. They do a build. He beats all of the upper mid card guys. He gets a strong win at SummerSlam. Similar to Edge's win over Rollins, something at that level, beating an upper mid card guy high up on the card.
You know what's so funny about this?
What?
Or finish your thing first. Then
he says, and then like you're saying, if you want to do it the week that Monday Night Football comes back, that all makes sense, and that's a good idea. But then have him say, like you said, I'm challenging Bobby Lashley this Monday, and then that's the match. You don't have Lashley have another match first. And then he can beat him in 30 seconds like he did. I think that's smart and great because then you're like, wow, this guy won Money in the Bank. He beat all these top contenders, and he just beat the unbeatable Bobby Lashley in 30 seconds. That's how you attempt to make a star. And I don't know if it would not work necessarily, but it's a lot better than what they just did. But here's the thing. They're not interested in attempting
they're in the
to
moment
make a star.
business. They're in the moment business.
They're in the moment business. And everyone's fooling themselves into thinking that this was like Big E's big breakthrough. Technically he won the world title, but the way he won it and the fact that a month ago he was in a prelim feud with Baron Corbin. Okay. So I don't think this is any kind of breakthrough for him, just because he technically is the champion. Okay. I don't really think he's in a different place. I don't. I mean, until they prove to me that he's in a different place, he's the same old Big E. He just happens to have, the title around his waist now. I don't feel like he's any hotter than he was before, or being booked any stronger than he was before because he didn't win the title. He wasn't booked strong when he won the title. They protected the other guy.
Yeah, and the thing I was going to bring up is it's actually fun if you go and look at Bobby Lashley's, his record this year and the matches that he's had this year. Just let you know that they had no idea they just literally woke up on a whim one day or maybe a few days prior and decided to do this. Obviously, Big E wins that Money in the Bank or whatever, but I don't know if you remember this. Like Bobby Lashley feuded with Xavier and Kofi like throughout a lot of the summer and a lot of the spring. He beat him in Hell in a Cell matches. He beat him at Money in the Bank. Like he beat Kofi at Money in the Bank, just absolutely destroyed him. He beat Xavier Woods in a Hell in a Cell match on Raw. Like he did a bunch of stuff with those guys and faced them a bunch, and then went on to different programs. Then went on to the Goldberg program and did some other stuff with Orton and did this and they never attached those two stories. They never had Big E stand up for his former New Day guys and say, oh well now which again, like if you were planning this, you kind of got there. You know what I mean? Like you could have had him win the Money in the Bank, and then after Bobby Lashley destroys Kofi Kingston at Money in the Bank, you say, hey, look, man, I have this briefcase, so at SummerSlam, it's you and me, right? There's so many different ways you could have done this, and it just shows you that there was not that planning. There was not the idea that they said, all right, this summer, this spring, this fall, our goal is Big E is going to be a superstar. We're going to make him a star. That's not what happened because they didn't, and they might retcon it and they might act like it was all the plan the whole way, but it wasn't. He wasn't, like you said, very similar to the Stone Cold Steve Austin story. He wasn't doing shit on SummerSlam. They just, it happened, to be that this moment happened on this time or whatever. And yeah, what happens moving forward, who knows? They might say, hey, let's get behind this guy. Let's do something. History is definitely not on that side. And like you said...
No, and not only that, it would help if they would have gotten behind him before he won the title.
Right, and that's exactly it. So yeah, history is not on the side there. History is on the side of, this was just a fluke title win. They woke up and they said, fuck, AEW's beating us in the ratings, or Monday Night Football's coming up this week, whatever it was, hell, let's just do it. Or
they needed
something booked for Saudi Arabia, or they just, we need something. What do we have? Worked. Money in the Bank, let's go,
And it worked. Raw did a terrible rating, but did you see the third hour was the highest?
Third hour did incredible, yeah.
And that never happened, so it worked. It mitigated the lost viewers from the Monday Night Football return. So from that perspective, it did work. I know everybody likes Big E. We like Big E, and I think people were just being especially kind to this one because they all like the guy and they want this to be a special thing, but I don't see it as anything special. I see it as a typical rushed, deal that they do, which probably has other ulterior motives as well. We have Saudi Arabia coming up, and who knows what Lashley's plans are for that.
Yeah, probably Goldberg. Maybe they want him to lose to Goldberg to kind of get that to 1-1 or whatever. So
yeah, whatever they have planned for. Yeah, it could be anything. But my point, I don't see a long reign here for Big E, and the way that they put this title on him, I don't see any indication or that they believe in him as a top guy. I don't. I'd like to be wrong, because we've been wanting to be wrong about Big E for years here, but I see no indication they see him as a top guy. And I think some people, they have a hard time distinguishing between, well, if someone's a champion, they must be a star and a top guy. Not in that company. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't even really work like that in wrestling. Sometimes you belt someone up and it just doesn't work. Even if you have the intentions of them becoming a major star and a big draw and a top guy, history is littered with people who were given title wins and it just didn't work out the way the booker hoped. I don't even think this is that. I honestly don't even think they have any designs on making him a top star.
No, I don't think so either. Like I said, there's nothing that indicated that they did, unless they woke up one day and changed their mind and decided this is our next guy. But I mean, I don't know, and I don't think on the flip side, I don't think they've given up on Bobby Lashley either. I mean, they've spent 2 years, basically having Lashley beat everybody. I mean, that guy has been just on an absolute tear the last 2 years. And yeah, I don't buy that that's like they're done with him either. So yeah,
whatever they had planned for the end of this Lashley story, this clearly wasn't it, because Lashley got all the protection here.
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't know who they have planned for Lashley down the line to eventually upend him and get the rub off of beating this unbeatable guy. But they gave Lashley every out. I mean, he's going to come on TV and he's going to say that he had a 20-minute match with Randy Orton and he was on MVP is going to say that he had a 20-minute match and wrestled on a bad leg, And then Lashley's going to snatch the mic from MVP and talk his 30 seconds of shit. I mean, you know how this is going to play out. I don't get the sense that this is a meaningful push for Big E.
Right, that we turn the corner and that. Yeah, to me, it's one of the most egregious, let's just do something to do something in a long time for this company. I mean, this company has spent, the better part of the last 2 years almost doing nothing, pretty much almost doing nothing ever. And this one, I don't know. The thought process behind this one, just nothing that indicated it from Lashley's end, nothing that indicated from Big E's end, just nothing that indicated from the booking. They didn't even build it up for more than a couple hours. It's just like, what? There's just so many different ways to do this. There's 1,000 different ways to do this that make everybody better than the way that they did it. But whatever.
Can I pitch you something from an alternate universe?
Sure.
And tell me if you think this would have. So the easy comparison that a lot of people are making is Kofi Kingston. I don't think it could be more different. I don't see the comparison other than they're both New Day members. But let's say now, look, I know the Kofi thing was never intended and it got thrust upon them, and they did the right thing by putting Kofi Kingston over at WrestleMania. Okay, that was absolutely the right call. The fans wanted it. They peaked it at the right time. It was one of the best moments in modern WrestleMania history, all of that. From there, nobody wanted to see Kofi Kingston as champion. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. It's a point that I've made a million times. He didn't get good reactions as champion. That was totally a story where the people wanted to see the guy win, but they didn't want to see the guy be the world champion after that. He really honestly should have lost it very quickly thereafter. But we both called on this show that they were going to hold it off until they got the Fox and have Brock Lesnar. And that's exactly how it played out. They waited till they got the Fox and they had Brock Lesnar beat him. But, in reality, he probably should have lost it the next week or whatever. The moment with Kofi was winning the title. From there, it was going to be diminishing returns. And, he's not a world champion. To me, he's a mid-carder. And that's not all his fault. I don't necessarily think he has main event charisma. But booking him as a mid-carder for 10 years, the die was cast with Kofi Kingston, no matter what you think of him. And fans didn't accept him as a world champion. So I don't think Kofi, because with Big E, I think he can be a money-drawing world champion. I think he does have a higher ceiling than someone like Kofi and could be a money-drawing world champion. So my long-winded point is this. In an alternate universe, it really is a shame that it couldn't have been Big E in the Kofi spot, getting the big memorable win in the WrestleMania main event, because that really could have launched him to superstardom, and Kofi in the dopey little Money in the Bank spot for the fleeting pop. Wouldn't it have been much better if that was reversed? I know they had no control over that because the Kofi thing was so organic, but in some alternate reality, my God, I think Big E might legitimately be a star today if he would have been in the Kofi spot. And I think Kofi's perfect for the silly little
the fluky
TV
stuff,
win.
the oh my God, I can't believe he did it type thing. Yeah, for sure. Where Big E just grabs the bull by the horns and just wins. You know what I mean? Just wins that title, wins it at WrestleMania.
Picture Kofi at that WrestleMania beating Daniel Bryan and the show closing with him as the champ. I don't even remember if that was the last match, but you get the idea. Like that could have been the launching pad he needed. This is not it. This is fucking, like a million other cash-ins it's just not going to go anywhere because they don't believe in them. But maybe if that had been Big E in that Kofi spot, the company would have saw, oh, wow, well, we do have something with this guy. And that's putting a lot of faith in a promotion that fucking stinks and doesn't do anything right. But it's just something I was thinking about. It's a shame that the roles weren't reversed for these two guys, because I think both of them were better suited for what happened for the other guy's title win.
Yeah, it's just it's again, it's one of these moments that frustrates you about WWE because it's they just make everything so hard. And that's gonna be the thing we're gonna talk about with NXT when we move on to NXT here. The new NXT is just they make it's so much harder than it needs to be. Just like, if you have this idea, just plan a month or two ahead. You gave him the Money in the Bank. When he wins Money in the Bank, the old WWE, the old Vince McMahon, they would say, okay, what's our plan now with this guy? When are we? And they just not what they do anymore. They're just not in that business anymore. And it's just it's just hard to explain.
Listen to our tone. Listen to our tone. If this were a well-built Big E world title win, we'd be so excited, right?
Yeah, we'd be breaking down the scenarios. Okay, now what's he do after this? Who's he going to face? Like all this sort of stuff.
Well, listen to our tone. We're like, this is just whatever, And it's like you can only do the first one once. That's the other thing. This Money in the Bank shit has got to go. It just has to go, because that's the other thing. So many of these guys win their first title with this stupid this Money in the Bank, which has overstayed its welcome. And yeah, it's good for a pop in the moment, but it doesn't do anything in terms of getting the guy off on the right foot on a path of being a true star. And, I think it's a crutch. And I think if they got rid of Money in the Bank, they can get back to just giving guys a proper push and a proper build and heating a person up and getting them ready for that spot. Because working the pre-show match a month before the pay-per-view, a prelim match with a prelim wrestler, is not properly setting someone up for a world title run. It's not. So
it's been a bad run as of late, because everybody will, every time you bring it up, people will bring up Edge. And you know what I mean? They'll bring up,
that was 15 fucking
right,
years
exactly.
ago.
That was 2005. Yeah.
Andy was a heel.
Right. It was novel. It was the first time they ever did it. It was surprising. It was all that sort of stuff. I'm going through the Daniel Bryan ones right now for the series we're doing on Patreon, the Yes Movement. And like those ones are disasters. He cashes in after guys are knocked down and stuff like that. And they did nothing to build up Daniel Bryan. Nobody was a bigger fan of Daniel Bryan after though. You know what I mean? Like they did nothing.
Because as we knew at the time, they didn't believe in him either.
Right. Exactly. And then like you go through the list of people after that. And some of these I don't even remember, how little they were. 2017, when they first do the women's one, they include the women's and they make it a male and female here. Carmella wins it. Baron Corbin wins it for the men. The next year is Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman.
See, and I get the point you're making. It's like when you give the Money in the Bank to people like this, now you're telling people it's a mid-card gimmick.
Right. Bayley and Brock Lesnar in 2019. Okay. Everybody got very mad about the Brock Lesnar one. I remember that.
Yeah, but the way Brock won it was he wasn't even in the fucking match.
He just came in and beat everyone's ass. Yeah, which Brock rules. Brock's the best. And then 2020 is Asuka and Otis. I mean, Jesus Christ. Then this year, Nikki ASH, who cashed it in and then has already been beaten and sent down the mid card. and now Big E. So
yeah, another jabron with Nikki Ash, and it's like, this is why it's irrelevant to bring up Edge, which was 15 years ago, because there's a whole new generation of fans who see Money in the Bank as a like a gimmick for mid-carders to sleaze their way to the title and to cut the line.
Yeah, Otis and Baron Corbin and the Miz. Yeah, the Miz beat him for the contract. Remember that? Like,
yeah, it's not something that it's something where, underdog mid-carders can cut the line and sleaze their way to the title, which also works against Big E because this is the company he's in. It just, Money in the Bank sucks. I know they're not going to move away from it. They're not going to stop doing it, but it's counterproductive in so many ways. And what it does is it encourages all of this company's worst instincts, is what Money in the Bank does. Go for the surprising moment, like you said.
Yeah, they're in a moment business. Yeah,
they're in the moment business. Go for the surprising moment. Go for the fleeting pop. The
1 week spike in ratings. They love that stuff. Yeah, they love it.
Yep, yeah. It encourages all of their worst instincts, and that's why to me it's got to go, but it won't. I legitimately hate it at this point.
Oh yeah, I can't.
And I would hate it more if I actually gave a shit. That's the other thing. Like, it's so hard to care about this company, but the reason we're so down on this one is because we really were hoping against our better judgment, breaking the arm's length rule, that they would do right by this guy because there's so much potential there. But they didn't. And now, what's odd? What's weird to me is they put the title on him, and I now believe that I am now more convinced than ever that they don't believe in him because of the title win. Isn't that weird? Like, because of the nature of it and how it went down and everything.
Well, you've been watching this enough. I mean, anybody who's watched this enough knows what these sort of title wins look like. You can go back to the most famous, like, this is the most uncomfortable title reign ever, was the Rey Mysterio one, back in 2006, where, he wins the title and they're so scared they don't call it the World Heavyweight title anymore. Remember that? Vince had an edict that we only call it the world title now because he's not a heavyweight, because he's Rey Mysterio. And all the writers at the time, like many of the writers that were in the room then and have done podcast interviews or whatever, said that every single week Vince McMahon would walk in and say, all right, when are we having Rey lose the title? And they'd be like, man, he just won it like last week. Like, let's, and he would say, okay, but this isn't going to last much longer. And you felt it. You knew it in the moment that was that sort of title reign. Jack Swagger, another Money in the Bank title reign. Remember that? I mean, when he won that, everybody was like, it was the most uncomfortable, weird title reign because you just knew that they had no instincts on it. They had nothing behind this guy. They had no intrigue whatsoever for this guy. They did not want him to have this title. They knew it was, and unfortunately, the early returns on the Big E thing, it kind of looks like one of those. And I don't know, we'll see. But history is absolutely on our side. Those are just a few of the examples that I brought up. Those are just the most obvious examples of terrible title reigns. But yeah, when it doesn't feel like a we're behind this guy title reign.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this one for sure feels like that, which sucks because just get behind the fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like when he wins Money in the Bank in July, just say, all right, this is our time. Let's build this guy up. Let's do 3 or 4 months. We'll build up Bobby Lashley at the same time. They'll challenge each other at a major pay-per-view or whatever, or we'll do it on Raw or whatever. And Big E will just beat him, and we'll have done right by pushing Big E and getting behind him and making the fans excited about him. We'll do right by Bobby Lashley by building him up, and then Big E's going to be a bigger star because he's beating Bobby Lashley, who we've built up and built up and built up. This is easy stuff, and they just don't do it. They just don't care. They're just in a different business. It's infuriating.
Yeah, I think baby faces, if you insist on this thing, should never do the surprise cash in. The only time a baby face should do the surprise cash in is if it's an underdog baby face who isn't world title caliber, and you just want to do some shocking world title win for a week for some mid-card guy. But I don't even advocate doing that because I think you should protect your world title better than that. But someone who you believe in, who's a babyface, should never do the surprise cash-in. Just makes them look weak, makes them look bad. And if you think that verbiage is too strong, okay, maybe it doesn't make them look weak, but it definitely doesn't make them look strong. Big E does not look strong with this win on Monday. I mean, he beat a guy with a bad leg who was tired. He just had a match. He hasn't come out. Maybe he doesn't. maybe calling it cowardly or weak is a little strong, but it definitely doesn't make him look like a hero, like a strong world champion. It makes him look like a guy who shortcutted his way to the title. But this is where they tell stories, and this is what I always say. Like, I don't give a shit if you tell a story. I don't even care if it makes sense. If it stinks, I don't care whether it makes sense or not. If you tell me a story that isn't good, I don't understand why.
And I'm not obligated to say, well, it's a story, so.
Yeah, like, I don't give it, the story
Joe, it's a story, so, I mean, it's a story. You can't say anything, because it's a story. Okay, the story sucks. Like, your story's bad.
Right, exactly. So, that's just disappointing. But, it's probably just, it's just wasting breath anyway when it comes to WWE. I mean, it's just... But what bothers me is a lot of people are really buying into this one because they like Big E so much.
I know. I feel bad. It's like, you see a car crash coming and you're just like, guys, don't get too excited, because then it's the same. I mean, it was the same with the Kofi thing. We went through that again where people were just like, oh man, this Kofi run's great. And then it just, then the vitriol when Brock Lesnar beat him, and it's like, guys, this is your fault. Like, why do you buy into this? Like, what has this company done to get this sort of buy-in from you? Like, why would you do that? Let them prove it to you first. Let them prove it to you. And hey, maybe they'll prove us wrong about Big E. Maybe they will. But history's definitely on our side, so I'm not going to get too excited about it.
Have him beat the contenders, have him beat Lashley fair and square, and then have him beat Goldberg.
Yeah.
That's how you push somebody. Have we lost sight of this? That's how you push somebody.
I don't know anymore.
You don't have them beat a guy who's tired with a bad leg. If you believe in him.
He's limping. He can barely stand. He just gets, chop blocked or whatever. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I'm just repeating what they're telling you as a viewer. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, don't kill me because I'm the messenger. I watched the match, and the story was he beat a tired guy with a bad leg. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm supposed to think that the guy, look, he called his shot. He said he was going to do it, and he did. I'm not saying he's like a scumbag or a cheater or anything like that, but it definitely wasn't like a vote of confidence where I'm like, oh, well, this guy's clearly the best wrestler on No, to me, Bobby Lashley's still the best wrestler and on the brand or whatever. According to the story you just told me, how have I been convinced that Big E is better than him?
Right.
I'm not convinced.
He caught him in a moment. He caught him in a bad moment and won the title from him. After Bobby Lashley's beat everybody for 3 years. And this guy was on the pre-show in SummerSlam a month ago.
And just beat Randy Orton, who's presented as a legend and an all-timer and a 1,000-time world champion and everything else. So I don't know. Look, maybe we're the sourpusses here, but
that's fine.
This did nothing for me other than tell me that they don't believe in Big E. That's all.
All right, well, we're going to get to NXT here in a bit, NXT 2.0, but before we do that, we do have to let you know that this episode of the Voices of Wrestling Flagship Podcast is sponsored by our friends at MyBookie, Joe. With over $500,000 in contest prize money up for grabs, the NFL is back in action. And Joe, so is winning season at MyBookie. Head to mybookie.ag to choose from a variety of boosts and free bets and get in on the fan favorite $100,000 super contest, which only costs $10 to enter. We talked about this a little bit last week, but you pick 5 games against the spread each week. Each win earns you a point, and each point gets you closer to that grand prize of $100,000. So in order to get started, you make your first deposit at mybookie.ag and use our exclusive promo code VOICES. And you'll instantly receive double on your first deposit. So if you deposit $500, they're going to give you $500. If you deposit $10, they're going to give you $10. So whatever you do with that promo code VOICES, you're going to get double your first deposit. That's double your money, double your winnings, and double everything with promo code VOICES at MyBookie AG. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie, mybookie.ag. So how'd you do week 1, NFL? Did you lay out this weekend?
Crushed it.
Did you?
Yeah. You don't pay attention. I posted it in the Slack, but there were 7 home underdogs week 1. And I was like, this is bizarre. Why are there 7 home underdogs? So I took every one of them on the money line. Fuck the points. I took all 7 of them on the money line.
That is weird, especially with fans back now. It's like, I get it in COVID years when it's who cares? Home field advantage is kind of meaningless, but yeah, we got full stadiums here, so I don't know.
So I did the old Al Pacino 2 for the money, take them on the money line. So I took them all on the money line. And because I only had to win 3 out of 7 to come out ahead because I took them on the money line instead of taking the points. And 4 of them ended up winning outright. So 4 of them won outright and 5 of them covered because the Lions were getting 8.5 at home against the Niners. And they made that huge comeback at the end and ended up losing by 8. So they covered. I lost that one because I had them all on the money line, but I won 4 out of 7 and I only needed 3 out of 7 to profit. The Raiders on Monday night were the 4th one. That one was just, I was playing with house money on that one, and they ended up winning in overtime. So crushed it this week. You want me to give everybody, I'll give everybody a play. This one will lose, of course, but here's my play this week.
Well, and a good time to promote the NFL Intelligentsia too. So.
NFL Intelligentsia, I have 2 written previews, 2 season previews up behind the paywall now, $5 tier, written previews, AFC preview, NFC preview. Here's my play, though, this week on my bookie. It's complicated, but this is the play I'm doing. I've got a 4-team teaser.
This is for entertainment purposes only, though, Joe, obviously.
For entertainment purposes only. Well, no, you just read the my bookie ad, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if we're I don't know if we're allowed to give advice, official advice. This is not my bookie sponsored advice. This is Joe Lanza's entertainment.
So, the ad read is over. This is for
yes.
This is for entertainment purposes only. No, I've got this is my one and only play this week. So after I crushed it this past week, I would advise not following my advice this week because the odds of 2 weeks in a row. But I'm doing a 4-team. Try to follow me here.
Okay.
I'm doing a 4-team teaser. Okay. Which means you can move the lines 13 points. Okay. Now you're going to lay 130 on this.
I'm
so
already
it's
confused. I'm already confused. But keep going.
Right.
Keep going.
So okay, if
don't. Somebody knows. Somebody's listening knows. Don't explain it to me. You don't.
Okay, so if you do a teaser, you can move the line 13 points in your favor with a 4-team teaser. So you could pick 4 teams and then move the line 13 points. So if someone's if a team is plus 13, you now get them plus 26.
Okay.
Okay, but you have to win all 4.
I see. Okay.
Okay, they're not just letting you right. So this is my 4-team teaser this week. You got to lay 130 on this one. It's minus 130. But Cleveland versus Houston, I'm playing both sides. It's a 13-point spread. So I've got Cleveland pick'em, Houston plus 26. Same deal with Tampa Bay, Atlanta. It's a 13-point line. So I've got Tampa Bay pick'em, Atlanta plus 26. So I'm playing both sides of both games in this 4-team teaser. Basically, I just need Cleveland and Tampa to win outright, okay? And I need Houston and Atlanta not to get blown out, not to lose by 4 touchdowns. So that's my pick of the week. That's the Lanza pick of the week. If you're like Rich and you're confused, then don't worry about it. But
yeah, I'm just not going to do it. That sounds great, though.
If you're a DGen like I am, you understand how a teaser works, okay? So I've got both sides of Cleveland, Houston. I've got both sides of Tampa, Atlanta. And I'm doing a 4-team teaser, minus 130. Let's say 100 units. Let's call it 100 units. It's the Lanza pick of the week.
There
Let's
it is.
go.
Lock
I'm
it
confident
in.
After last week.
Ting. Like we needed some, yeah.
I did that on Thursday TV reviews. I did the cash register sound.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I was talking about it. Yeah.
I was thinking of some sort of lock or like a key turning or something like that. Yeah, right.
The lock of the week.
right.
Yeah.
Like a vault door closing or something, Lock of the week.
Hey, listen, Houston was my lock of the year last week. They were getting points at home against the Jaguars. Rich, why were the Jacksonville Jaguars favored on the road versus
I don't know. TK, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that. I don't care. I know Houston stinks, but the Jaguars have no business being favored on the road. I posted that in the Discord, so there's proof. That was my lock of the year. That was one of my 7. But that one I put a little extra mustard on because why are the Jaguars laying points on? The Jaguars shouldn't even be favored.
Right. They probably should be favored most times, honestly. So
home over anybody, let alone on the road. I mean, that
Joe, you're breaking up a little bit.
Where it is.
Can you hear me, Joe?
I've got
Oh boy.
100 units on it.
Joe, can you hear me? Hello, Joe. We are on two different wavelengths at this point right now. So, here's what we're gonna do. I am gonna leave the call, and I will see if that helps us. So, give us one moment. Technical difficulties.
I'll leave.
Give me one moment. We'll fire this thing back up. See how things are. All right, Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, there we go. We fixed whatever the problem was. I'm staring at two Joe Lanzas right now. I don't know why there's two of you here, but that's fine.
Yeah,
we're back.
TLB would enjoy that.
Two Joe Lanzas. Yeah.
Promise you that.
No comment. All right. I think it enjoy longer group calls. Group calls are limited to 1 hour. I don't know what that means, but okay. Huh.
I guess we better hurry up.
I guess so. This has never come up before, so I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna remove talk Joe. I'm gonna remove the Joe that's not talking. Let's see.
Well, I mean, it says we can't remove the.
There we go.
Joe.
All right, you're here. No,
now
there's just one.
Okay.
Now there's just one Joe. Now it's just me. But I don't know.
It's more than anyone really needs, to be honest.
Yeah, let's be fair. Okay, well, hey, we might get disconnected again in an hour because Google apparently has changed the way that they're letting you these calls go. So we'll see. Hey, nice. We'll find out. Anyway, let's talk about, speaking of a drug-induced, just a very weird drug-induced show here. NXT 2.0, Joe, this week we had the brand new NXT, the NXT in the vision of Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and Kevin Dunn. The brand new, recharged, reimagined NXT, essentially a 2-hour subtweet to Paul Levesque in everything that you did, we're going to do the opposite. You did steel and yellow. We're doing fucking every color in the rainbow, baby. You did poppy and heavy metal. We got Wale doing that during the entrance music. You wanted old guys. We got literal 20-year-olds. You wanted indie guys. We have dudes that have trained for like 2 weeks that are on our TV. I mean, they literally went one by one and said, what is old NXT? Fuck that. Let's do the opposite. Let's do this NXT. And Joe, I have to admit, I really liked NXT 2.0, the first episode.
It was way more watchable than
so much better
than Yellow Raw. I mean, the other show was just sensory overload, and it's just too much. You know what I mean? It was just too much. And not only that, it had gotten too far away from what NXT is supposed to be. And look, I don't know whether it's this was just it was easier on the eyes. I liked the setup. I liked the studio style setup, and I enjoyed the new camera angle. What'd you think of the new camera angles?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked everything.
Yeah,
the production I thought was really good, honestly. And I'm not the biggest Kevin Dunn fan in the world, but I thought if he depending on whether he was doing the actual directing or whatnot, which I think he was. No, I liked everything. I thought the arena looks great. It looks like a real studio as opposed to like whatever the warehouse look that you had. And there's a difference between a studio wrestling show and kind of like whatever the warehouse was. People might not know that difference, but like you knew it. I mean, that NXT 2.0, that to me felt like a studio show. It just, you saw the bleachers, you saw the fans, there was, they came out. It's just, it felt like an old, 605 show or any old territory.
Felt like Full Sail.
Yeah, or even what Full Sail was when it first started. So,
heavy metal NXT was just the worst visually. It was just
dark and drab, and there was no colors, and everyone's yelling at you. The music's yelling at you. Vic Joseph's yelling at you.
The fans are behind a cage. It was really weird and shitty. Look, I don't think this is going to be any kind of great wrestling show.
No, and that's what I wanted to point out here. We have come on this show many times over the last 10 years, and we've gotten excited about week 1 of Main Event. We've gotten excited about week 1 of Saturday Morning Slam. We've gotten excited about the first episode of 205 Live. We got excited about. And we always said after all those shows, at some point, it's going to get bad and boring. Because every Vince McMahon product eventually gets bad and boring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to happen here.
And that's going to happen with this one, too, for sure.
And then when you have green wrestlers who aren't good on a, bad and boring show, it's going to... But right now... this has reinvigorated NXT for me, and I had stopped watching NXT. I would record it every week and eventually watch like the main event or some other stuff that was maybe suggested to me or was getting some hype. But did I sit there and watch 2-hour NXTs? Only right before the takeovers, because I hated the show. I'll watch this for a while. Eventually, it's going to probably wear out its welcome for all the reasons you just said, like all the other shows did when the novelty wears off. Or if I'm no longer interested in the people they're pushing or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this felt like, you know what this felt like to me? This felt like a new booker taking over a territory. Because you still had a lot of the old faces, but just used in different ways. And then you had a bunch of new faces mixed in. And what's kind of exciting about this is we don't know what the new booker, so to speak, thinks of the people on the show yet. So all the old stories are gone. We don't know how hard they're going to push all the different people because it's a new set of people in charge. And that's kind of exciting for now. But, you know, I do agree that it'll probably eventually wear off.
Yeah, no, but like I'm infinitely more interested in this because we're seeing people we've never seen before. We're seeing, you know, real projectable stars coming in, like, you know, guys that like Braun Breaker, for whatever you want to say. I mean, you look at that guy and you go, holy shit, like that dude could be an absolute fucking star if things go well. I mean, that, like everybody they brought up. I mean, yeah, there's different elements of those people, but you feel like you're watching a developmental. Like I never felt when I saw Blake. I don't even remember what his fucking name in NXT was or whatever. Like when I saw Blake Christian or Kurt Stallion on my NXT, I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't want. Like I'm not. There's no reason to watch this guy on my TV. And that's nothing against Kurt Stallion. I like Kurt Stallion. Kurt Stallion's a good wrestler. I like Blake Christian. He's a good wrestler too. But I like them on like the undercard of an indie show. I never and we again. Go back and listen to the evidence. We were never comfortable with NXT going this way. It was a lot of fun because those takeovers were great, but we were on the show saying, you know, the further they get away from developmental, the further I'm not that interested because it just doesn't feel. I didn't want like a dollar store super indie. I didn't want that out of my NXT. And there was a while where it was covered up by just having tremendous wrestling, just an unbelievably great wrestling on those takeovers. But yeah, once those takeovers started to get a little, you know, go a little south as well, and once things just got a little too away from what they were going to be, you know, yeah, you and I just kind of hand waved it and said, whatever, it doesn't feel the same. But I'm excited because this is what it should be. I don't need a third Raw. And this didn't feel like a Raw. This didn't feel like a SmackDown. It felt like its entire own different thing. And that's what NXT was when it first started. So I welcome this change. I really do. I really think this is a positive.
Let alone the fact that it was no longer serving its purpose to the company. You know, this wasn't preparing people for the main. It wasn't preparing people for the main roster anymore. Nobody was getting called up anymore.
No, yeah, they just stopped even calling guys up.
NXT was just its own living, breathing side territory with Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly and Samoa Joe and Bobby Fish and all these people that they weren't being prepared for the main roster. They were just, this is just Triple H's fucking side band is what it was. And it was no longer serving how many times have we said over the years, developmental needs a developmental now. Like this company no longer has a developmental. It just has this weird third show. You know, and who needs a third Raw? Like, no one needs that. None of us need that. No one needs work rate Raw. Like, you know, it's so, yeah, this is back to serving the purpose it was intended to begin with, which was preparing people for the main roster. And it just tearing it down. I agree with you. It's an easier show to watch now. At least it's a little different. It feels different. The problem I had with this is where I saw 3 or 4 prospects that I really loved. Braun Breaker being one of them. That's Rick Steiner's kid. I have no idea why they're not calling him Rex Steiner.
We'll talk about that when we go back.
Okay, I'll hold off on that thought. Yeah. So that kid, the new Diamond Mine tag team, those two brutes.
Oh, the Creed brothers. Oh my God, I love the Creed brothers.
And
Brutus
the other guy
and Julius.
And I'll tell you the other guy that caught my eye, who I really think might have the best chance to become a star out of all of them, was the guy that came out with Carmelo Hayes. I don't know his name. The dude that cut the promo with Carmelo Hayes. The former,
what was his name? Yeah.
The former UCF, the former South Carolina wide receiver. I can't remember his work name or his real name.
Trick Williams. Trick Williams.
That dude jumped off the fucking screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea if he can work. He's clearly athletic because he threw that little jump and sidekick deal and he was a Division I college football player and a wide receiver. Okay, a 6'3" Division I wide receiver. You know that kid has hops. You know he's a great athlete. Okay, he's 6'3". He's good looking. He had a nice physique, and he had that charisma you can't teach. He jumped off the screen. I'm actually a little higher on him than I am on the Steiner kid. Okay, but they both to me look like blue chip prospects, and the Creed brothers look like our kind of wrestlers.
Oh,
I
love the Creeds.
Stars.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know if they are, but man, I love them. Yeah, they
just
beat ass. The Brutus and Julius.
Yeah, and what's the kid's name? Trick Williams.
Trick Williams. Yeah, Trick Williams.
Listen, I'm buying that stock right now. Now, look, he might have a match next week, and he might be the absolute drizzling shits. But here's the thing. A lot of these people were on this show.
And that's fine. This is the thing I've been screaming about in wrestling. This is what wrestling used to be. Guys would learn on the fucking job. They would say, hey, you look like $1 million. Go out there and learn. They didn't have to sit in fucking hip toss class for 3 years. And when Gable Steveson is ready to go, when he leaves college or whatever, they should do this with him right away too. He should do a week or two, get the basics down, and then they go, you know what, dude, learn on the job. And it's fine because guys learn from live TV. Guys learn from live reps. Guys learn from that stuff, and you see them develop, and that's so much more fun than guys being on mothballs until they're fucking 32 years old. That does no good for anybody. I hope these guys stink. I hope some guys stink.
Some of them won't work.
Yeah.
Some of them will work out. Some of them will. You know, I really felt bad for Carmelo Hayes because he just got outshined.
Oh, yeah. He's like, hey, here's my new friend, Trick Williams. And it's like, wow, that guy's so much better than you are.
Yeah.
Casanova, I mean, that's not good, man.
No offense to Carmelo Hayes. I mean, they're giving him a push and they seem to like him.
But Trick Williams is a much bigger deal than Carmelo.
Here's the thing. Carmelo Hayes is a guy. Trick Williams is a guy. You know what I mean? Like, he just felt like they might have something with it. The confidence that he had for the first time ever being on TV is what really jumped out at me. But no, this is fun watching a show like this because we can have conversations like this as opposed to, previewing
Alex Zane. Here's Alex Zane wrestling 3 other guys that were all on the indies before. Yeah, it's Alex Zane and Jake Atlas and Blake Christian, and they're gonna wrestle. Like, okay, cool.
Or previewing a takeover and going like this. All right, so Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are gonna wrestle for 40 minutes.
Right, it's a best of 7 match,
and it's gonna be good, I guess. But right. This is more interesting. I mean, there's no question that this is more interesting, and how long will we feel that way? How long will it last? But here's 2 other things I was thinking about watching the show. Number 1, every time I got excited about some of the guys that we were just talking about, it immediately occurred to me that why am I bothering? They're going to get called up and
right.
And then I immediately will lose interest in them. As soon as Braun Breaker or Trick Williams or whoever the fuck gets called up, I now will have no interest whatsoever in anything that they do because it's the main roster and it sucks and I hate it. The other thought I was having was, how long before the cycle repeats? I mean, isn't there going to be an instinct or a want to shows wrestling on purpose? Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Like, takeovers evolved into this thing that for a while there were the standard in American pro wrestling in terms of great shows. They absolutely were. Is it slowly going to crawl back to that? How can you stop it from crawling back to that?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's going to be a very interesting thing because I know Brandon Thurston has been tweeting that out all week, that if you look, there is no takeover on any schedule anywhere right now.
So maybe they're just not doing takeovers.
And that's an interesting possibility, is that Vince just goes, no, why bother? We're not doing takeovers anymore. We don't need to do takeovers anymore. And that would be, to me, that would be a very telling thing, because then it tells me, okay, we are not going back into the old. If they never go back on the road, because that was one of the big things that turned NXT the way it was, is they went on the road, and when you have to go on the road and you have to draw, you need to kind of have, top talent or whatever.
You need stars.
Yeah, so you need stars. You need stars to draw, and then when you're doing basketball arenas for takeovers, you need to have stars that can draw, to those arenas. So yeah, it was like if those two things, if they are truly committed to, we are staying in you know, we're going to stay in the fucking Full Sail, wherever the hell they are now, or the PC or whatever arena it is. It's not the Capitol Wrestling Center anymore. It's just, you know, the NXT 2.0 arena or whatever. If they're staying there, they're not going on the road, and they're not doing takeovers, then yeah, I think there is a real possibility that this kind of holds. But then the interesting thing comes, okay, when are you going to start bringing these guys up? When do you now decide, okay, Braun Breaker is ready for the main roster? Because that's been the problem with Vince McMahon for so long, is that he's either just not been interested in when guys are ready, or guys aren't ready, or whatever it is. And his roster is very old, like super. I mean, the main roster is so fucking old. You know, do they change? In a year's time, is a 23-year-old Braun Breaker on the main roster? I don't know that. I don't know that right now. I mean, history would say over the last 5 years, no. But this could be a whole new thing. I mean, maybe Vince McMahon truly did not think that NXT guys were getting guys ready, and now that he's got his, you know, he's got his finger on it, and he's got guys that he trusts, and he's looking at it, he's looking at the scripts, that now he will have confidence that when he's ready to bring Trick Williams up, he'll bring him up and he'll be ready for him. I don't know. I don't know that. It's all a very, very interesting thing we're going to see over the next 6 to 7 to 8 months.
Wouldn't the reason to do takeovers be that 4 times a year you can draw a $300,000 house or whatever? I mean, or whatever, you know, those are big draws.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah.
You're filling a building, but I guess what you're saying is if you don't have stars down there, you're not going to be able to fill those buildings anyway. So it would have to be back to the old takeovers that were done in Full Sail in front of the same 300 fans. Right. So I kind of understand from that standpoint, you can't really do the big grandiose takeovers. But I would think you'd still want something for the TV to build to. Or maybe it's just completely stripped down now and they don't even look at it from that aspect. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's for now, it's a far more interesting watch than the previous. The previous incarnation of NXT was just, I didn't mind the Full Sail days at all. I thought
no, it was fine. We would I remember I reviewed it weekly when we were doing written reviews on the website, and I know you did some stuff as well on audio. I mean, it was sometimes boring, but it was usually pretty solid. It was solid A to B to C booking, building up to a takeover, building up guys. You know, yeah, it was fine. It was perfectly acceptable pro wrestling, and then it just 2-3 years ago just completely lost its way.
Yeah.
And became whatever it was, got absolutely annihilated by AEW, and here's the result is NXT 2.0. And we do have to talk about this guy, because then we'll kind of quickly go over the matches. I'm not going to go in excruciating detail here. No, you know what? No, hold on. We'll get to him when we get to him. We'll get to him when we get to him, because I'm excited to talk about him. But let's start. Braun Breaker. NXT 2.0 starts. All the guys cut their promos, which I thought was a really cool thing. Every guy in the main event cutting their promo, talking about why they're going to win, and then we get a cut to Braun Breaker. Why in the world? It's just, you know, we can get excited about NXT 2.0, but it is still this company, and it is still Vince McMahon, it is still WWE. There is not one reason on earth that you have a man who is legitimately Rick Steiner's son wearing Steiner Brothers ring attire, that you copyrighted the name Rex Steiner, that wrestles like Rick Steiner, that wrestles like a Steiner, talks like a Steiner, looks like a Steiner, dresses like a Steiner, and you call him Braun Breaker. It's not hard. This is so easy. What are you idiots doing?
I feel like
what are you doing?
And there were multiple wrestlers on this show that are sons of wrestlers. They changed all of their names.
Wagner is, and I get, you know what? Honestly, I almost kind of get, who cares about Wayne Bloom's son? You know what I mean? Who cares? Wayne Bloom. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
They changed William Regal's son's name.
Yeah. That one's dumb too.
But the thing about it is, in pro wrestling, you do whatever it takes to get someone over.
Yes, it's a leg up. That guy has a leg up already because he's a Steiner.
And he looks and wrestles and has the same gear as a Steiner. Like, just lean into it. I mean, anything that can give you a leg up, anything that helps get someone over should be seen as a positive. But for whatever reason, it's the old tear you down to build you back up. I don't get it. I would think that you would take advantage of any edge that you have to get someone over and try to make a star. There is no argument that I could listen to that would convince me that it's better to change these people's names. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay. Now, someone sent us a really good tweet. I don't remember who it was, but they said, hey, look, the Steiners were in this company almost 30 years ago. That blew my fucking mind. The Steiners haven't been in WWE Scott came back.
Yeah. Rick has not been there
brothers,
since 93 and 94. 94 is the last time.
28 years ago, they came to WWE. Okay, just to put that in perspective, the year they did in 28 years, like in 1993 when they showed up, 28 years before that was 1965.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about here. Like, a lot of the people watching don't know who the fucking Steiners are, but that's not the point. You can teach them. You say this guy's the son of Rick Steiner. He's
well, if it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to you. For the people that it does matter to,
that's right.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter what the name is, right? If you don't know who he is. Right, but finish your point. Like, but if it matters, if it matters to you, it's fucking awesome. Hey, that's Rick Steiner's son. That's cool. I remember the Steiner brothers. That's cool. He looks like $1 million. He looks awesome. And if you don't know who Rick Steiner is, hey, this Rex Steiner guy looks like $1 million and it's kicking ass. Like, listen, I hate to do this, but it's what we talk about all the time with AEW. It's fan service. Like, you either can participate in that or not. And it's like, it does no harm to the people who don't get it. It does no harm. But it makes everyone else happy that you're acknowledging history and respecting, pro wrestling and all of those sorts of things. And these cool nods enhance everything for the people who do get it. And it's so stupid not to do it. It just doesn't make any sense. Why make it harder for people to get over? You're in the star-making business. Take advantage of every edge you have. It baffles me. And I do not understand. And also, by the way, Braun Breaker is a really stupid name.
It's a terrible name, yeah. It's just an absolute name.
Like with any other name, eventually you get used to it, right? But it's a really stupid fucking name.
Right. It's you just don't have to do it. It reminds me of the horrible era of the Michael McGillicuddy era and that stuff where it was just like, what are you doing? Just say he's Kurt Hennig's son. It's fine. Like, and some people, the expectations are hard and they can't live up to it. I know people say that, and it's like, but it's still, like you said, it's a leg up. It's an immediate leg up.
I'm going to tell you why that's a shitty argument. Because if you suck, you suck. I don't care what your name is.
Right.
If you're good, it doesn't matter.
Right. Randy Orton didn't become a star because he was Bob Orton Jr.'s son. It helped parts, but no, it was because he was good. That's why he became a star.
Yeah, so why not give everyone the edge of being the son of a legend? Because if they're not any good, they're going to fail regardless. It's not this thing where they have to live up to the name. It doesn't mean anything. That's a horrible argument. It doesn't make sense. You're not taking advantage of the easiest thing to take advantage of. Shit, Rich. Wrestling promoters used to
fake, they make fake sons. Yeah,
they'd work that people were related to help them get a leg up. Now we do the opposite. Well, one company does the opposite.
Yeah.
AEW takes full advantage.
Oh my God, yes.
What would you think of a green ass guy with an unimpressive body who can't work yet, like Brock Anderson, if he was fucking Jim Nelson or something? You would just think he's some common jobber. But because he's Brock Anderson's son, you think a little better of him. You're like, all right, it's fucking Arn Anderson's son. Maybe he can be something, right? It's taking advantage of that small edge. Hook. Would Hook have the following he has?
God,
if we
no.
didn't know he was
Hell
Taz's
no.
son?
Hell no.
It's ridiculous.
They've done 3 weeks of storylines on Brian Pillman Jr., who's, you know what I mean? Like, just because he's Brian Pillman's, and then all the promos are related around. Yeah, it's just it's a layup. It's so easy.
Lean into it.
It's so easy. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it's just so easy. There's just no need not to.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's absolutely a leg up and an advantage. Take advantage of it. It's just this company it's another area where they've completely lost the plot on star making. Bookers used to work that shit to give people that edge. Now we're taking it away from people who legitimately have it.
And the other thing too is the Rex Steiner thing. That's not even his real name. That's not even the Steiners. Their name isn't Steiner. Yeah, I heard people saying like, "Oh, well, if he leaves, then like he'll have the name." That's not. No, they have that name. It's not his real name. His name's Rex. His name's Bronson Rex Steiner. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's it's so that's not even a good argument. It's not like, oh, well, you never know. That's not even their real names. That's a fake name. It's a working name anyway.
Yeah, William Regal is fucking Darren Matthews.
Right.
So you can make his son fucking, Caleb fucking Regal or Gareth Regal, since everyone is fucking named Gareth from there, right? And you could own that name, like you're saying, like it doesn't even mean anything because the kid's name is fucking something, whatever the fuck Matthews is his real name. So yeah, that fucking defense doesn't fly either. God, it's just fucking maddening. Why do they make everything worse? Why?
So much harder, and they don't have to. It's so easy.
All of these guys
Wrestling is so simple. Yeah, it's so
all simple. These guys would just come across so much cooler if we knew that they were the sons of these people and presented like that. It's just fucking. It's unbelievable how they make everything worse.
Yeah, so much harder. But anyway, Braun Breaker inexplicably comes out, beats the fuck out of LA Knight, whoops his ass, even though LA Knight is going to be in the main event going for the title. But anyway, he got his ass kicked, so that was pretty cool. Then we had, real quick, I'm just going to go over some of these other ones here, because a lot of stuff was just like dudes came out.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like a reset button. Like if this would have been Poppy NXT, the Steiner kid would have lost.
Yeah,
because LA Knight is pushed, and when they bring new people in, they lose for a while. This is all new, which is why it's exciting, because now the booking patterns and the booking rhythms have all changed as well.
So then we had Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen versus Imperium. So I forget who Brooks Jensen is. He's somebody too. I forget.
Brooks Jensen is someone's kid. He's Bull Buchanan's.
Oh, that's right. He's Bull Buchanan's kid. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I'm not buying Brooks Jensen stock right now. I'll tell you that. But
I mean, what would it kill them?
You want them to lean into Bull Buchanan?
Would it kill them to just call him Brooks?
Yeah.
Buchanan. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
I mean, like, why?
It's strange, but
why? Well, why not? It's alliteration. I mean,
Gotta go with Brooks.
Are you there, Craig?
I'm there. I'm here.
I lost you for a second, but yeah, I was afraid Imperium were going to lose to these two goofs.
Yeah, I hope that somebody still likes Imperium there, because
I was like, we're beating all the old guys.
Yeah, Vince is really putting his, like I said, it's a subtweet, so he's gonna, every one of his guys is gonna get beaten down, but luckily Imperium got the win there. Yeah. So then we got BFAB versus Katrina Cortez. What'd you think of BFAB here?
I thought she stunk.
Yeah, she was real bad.
She has confidence and presents herself well and is a good part of that act. One thing that drives me nuts, and this is just a me thing, and it doesn't matter, but in their entrance theme, her part of the song where she goes, "I got doughy, that part fucking annoys me so much. I cannot fucking stand that line. Or she says, "We're getting doughy." Whatever she says about doughy, I fucking hate. It makes me cringe so hard, that doughy line. And Top Dollar I've finally decided he's a fucking geek. I can't stand Top Dollar. He's a tryhard. I don't like him. Ashanti the Adonis, though, and Isaiah Scott, I'm all in. Those guys are great. Top Dollar could hit the bricks. He's a tryhard. I don't like him. And BFAB, it's a developmental show. Let's give her some time.
Then we had Austin Theory and Damian Priest, who returned from their excursions. I guess Austin Theory from his excursion, and then Damian Priest, I guess, from the main roster. And then we never saw Damian Priest again, so I don't know what happened here, but whatever, doesn't matter. Carmelo Hayes introduced Trick Williams. We talked about this.
Wait, Damian Priest? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, he was there.
Damian Priest, the United States champion?
Yeah.
Did I fucking miss it? I
think you must have. He was there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. He was.
Right.
Yeah, he was. I guess it was something where he was going there for the open bars. I forget what it was. So it was dumb.
I must have been taking a leak.
That's probably fine. It's probably okay. So then Mandy Rose came out. She's a brunette now. So there you go. Mandy Rose is a brunette. And then they had a match.
All right.
It was Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter defeated Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Then they broke it down because Mandy Rose came in. Then they did a six-way here, a six-man tag here. Gigi, JC Jane, Mandy Rose defeat Casey, Caden Carter, and Sarai. So,
yeah. All the matches were neat and tidy.
Yeah. Oh, every match was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, which is perfect too. So Ridge Holland came out, just beat the fuck out of Drake Maverick. That was cool. Then we got to talk about this guy, Joe. Tony D'Angelo. So people were going nuts in our Discord. They said that this was you and I doing a fusion dance here, where it's greaseball Italian from Chicago, whose dad is in the waste management business.
Yes.
He has a he's from the area. He's from Illinois. I forget exactly what part he is. He does not have a Chicago accent, though.
No.
He's trying to do a Chicago accent, but like most people, it ends up just sounding like a dollar store, like, super fans SNL accent here. It's a very tough accent to kind of fake. So Tony is like, hey, yeah, I'm in the waste management business. Like,
I don't know. Was he trying to do Chicago?
I think he was trying, but it was really bad. I think I did it better there than he did it there. But so he's walking the streets of what is definitely not Chicago. I don't know where he was, but he's walking the streets, and it's like, we got a little bit of like Italian music in the background, a little violin or something in the back, and I actually like this character. It's weird because so what he's saying is, because he's addressing his real life, that he was an amateur wrestler, that he was he was an amateur wrestler. I forget where he went. Doesn't matter.
I went to wrestle at Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. That's right. And you know what? It was good, but there's no money in that. There's more money here in NXT, and I like that.
There ain't no money in amateur wrestling.
He's right. That's the thing. He's not wrong, and it makes NXT seem like a big deal because this guy who was a star in air quotes, amateur wrestler at Buffalo.
One at the Greco-Roman is what he said. I was number one at the Greco-Roman.
You're doing like the Andrew Dice Clay accent.
Yes.
He was trying to do like an he watched an Al Capone movie.
Right.
And did the accent from that, which was probably not, and it's just this amalgamation of some random accent.
From a bad Al Capone.
Right. Right.
I don't know. I didn't see you.
It's not good. It wasn't a good one. I promise you it wasn't a good Chicago accent.
No. To me, I didn't even think he was trying to do Chicago. To me, he just came across like a guy with a 1-episode arc on The Sopranos who gets whacked immediately. Like, that's how he came across to me.
Yeah, that's my friend, Tony D'Angelo.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And he hijacks the wrong truck, and they gotta, and he has to get whacked. That's what he came across like an actor doing what he thinks a gangster from New Jersey sounds like, is how he came across to me. But maybe you're right. Maybe he was trying to do Chicago Italian gangster. But I like the cut of this guy's gym.
I'm into Tony D'Angelo. I am into Tony D'Angelo.
I like Tony D'Angelo, who went to wrestle at Buffalo. Right. You notice with everyone on this show, they made it a point to tell you what their legitimate credentials.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, but then change their name, and then change their name every single time.
And then change their name. Yeah.
So if you want to look up Joe Areola, which I get why they changed Joe Areola's name, I'll tell you that for sure.
Dude, your last name is a tit.
Yeah, Joey Tits. Yeah, Joey Tits. Hey, how's it going?
They should have made him Joey Tits. I'm Joe Areola. They call me Joey Tits.
Joey Nips. I'm Joey Nips. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, with the Buffalo.
You know damn well if this would have been 1996 ECW, he'd be Joey
right.
Joey Areola, also known as Joey Tits, right. Part of the FBI, tag teaming with JT Smith and fucking Little Guido. That's what he'd be, because that's basically what like Vito Lagrasso was. Remember the fucking Baldies? But yeah, no, this guy, I like they tell you the legit backgrounds, but then they give them the fake names. But that's also very anti-Vince to tell you the legit backgrounds.
I know, yeah, I was kind of surprised because he leaned into it a little bit by obviously changing the names and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, keeping the real life history is pretty cool here. And I actually, so this is an interesting development here. So our boy Joey Areola here, Joey Tits, he went to Oak Park River Forest High School, which, Joe, I don't know if you remember in the early days of the Voice Wrestling Flagship, I was living in Oak Park at the time.
That's right.
So there is a possibility. That with an open window, that Joe Areola is walking around town, hears the Voice of Wrestling. You know what I mean? There's a very strong possibility he has heard this show before.
That's right.
So,
and it inspired him to become a pro wrestler.
So you're welcome, everybody, for Tony D'Angelo. I love Tony. I'm all in on Tony D'Angelo too. It's you and I. We need to claim him anyway because it's just like an amalgamation of you and I.
Yeah.
Together. So yeah, we're all in. I'm full on in on Tony D'Angelo for sure. So.
Maybe it's because of us that he knows there's no money in the Greco-Roman.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
exactly.
because of us. You know?
Buffalo.
How does it? Buffalo. How come? What is it when a guy who already has a Jersey accent does another Jersey accent? Like, how does that come across? Like when I try to do that?
Yeah, it's like it just ends up sounding like Andrew Dice Clay. Is like I said.
Yeah. Hickory dickory dock.
Right, that's like, always what it sounds like. Yeah, because wasn't that what he was doing? Because I'm sure, like, that's not his real. That's him putting up to 10, right?
Okay, so he was I don't know if you know his backstory, but like he was
just like a normal comedian, right? He was just like a dude, right?
He was a regular stand-up, and the Dice Man was just a character he did. It was a bit, but it got over so much that the character, that bit became the whole act. So yeah, it's a put on. It's just, but it was so, it was like it was the part of his act that got over so well that he just made it the act. So that's the deal with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just an East Coast. I think he's a Jewish guy. I don't even think he's Italian. He's a Jewish guy who was, doing like the stereotypical. I don't even know if Andrew Dice Clay is supposed to be Italian, but it's obviously a East Coast Italian-ish accent.
Yeah. So Tony D'Angelo, incredible, a house favorite here at Voices of Wrestling. Then the Creed brothers just absolutely decimated Dan Jarman and Trevor Skelly. You guys rule.
Yeah.
That unit, that Malcolm Bivens unit, is awesome now too. Fucking rocks.
Even the girl, the Ivy Nile.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's got the hair up, square up hair going on too. She's fucking it's awesome. It's great.
I mean, she might be terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll find out. Then we had our main event here. Obviously, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly got beaten down. I forget when he I forget what segment he got beaten
during
down.
one of the matches.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the ECW just December to dismember you, where Kyle O'Reilly gets beaten down before, and he gets replaced. This is a fucking acid trip. This entire show. He gets replaced by the son of Wayne Bloom, former Beverly brother, former Midwest AWA star Wayne Bloom, Cal Bloom, who is now Von Wagner.
Von Wagner.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a member of Imperium yet.
No. Yeah, maybe he should be.
Yet.
Wayne the Train Bloom before the Destruction Crew days. And then he was Bo Beverly.
Yes. Yeah, huh? And then did
No, or was he Blake? Oh, he was.
Yeah, I don't remember, to be honest.
He was Bo. Enos was Blake.
Yes,
Almost
that is correct.
positive.
Yeah, that is correct. And then became a WCW jobber for a couple years after that too. So
Wayne Bloom did?
Yeah. He'd pop up every so often.
I know Enos was there in the Nitro days.
Oh yeah, Enos was there from 95 until I'm almost positive Bloom. He was on Nitro all the time.
I don't remember Wayne Bloom.
Yeah,
on Nitro.
He was a lot of 98 Nitros. He was there. So
yeah.
I remember because he was in a Spring Break. I remember when I did the Spring Break series last year on Patreon. It was Jim Neidhart and the British Bulldog versus Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom, but they didn't.
They put them back together.
They put them back together, and then Mike Tenay was like, "Oh, actually, these guys have been," and they were just like, "Shut up, nerd!" That classic thing where they bring him to the table, and he's like, "Oh, actually, these guys are very experienced. They had many years." And they're like, what are you talking about, Mike? And he's just like, "Okay."
So you think it was a fluke that they ended up together on the
no, because they put them together for like 4 or 5 for a couple months. They put them together actually, and then
they did.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they. Well, we're talking about 1999 WCW. I was going to say I don't understand why they didn't run with that, but yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if in the spring of 1998 pushing the Minnesota Wrecking Crew is really what I would do.
Minnesota Wrecking Crew 2.
Yes, right.
Yeah, they were the Destruction Crew, and then they wore like the same gear, but just put on masks when they came to WCW.
right.
As Minnesota Wrecking Crew 2, and then they came in as the Beverly Brothers, which I don't know how Vince came up with that. These are two guys doing a blue collar construction worker gimmick,
right? And then he decides you guys are from Hollywood Hills, or
yeah, and are going to be wink, wink brothers that are wink, wink, definitely not gay. Like how do you come up with that? Like you would think that he would be into the construction.
And they're like legit fucking tough dudes too. They're from Minneapolis. They're legit tough guys. Like they're legit. It must have been one of those classic like ribs. Like rib them. They're gonna be gay. You know what I mean?
Let's make them incestuous gay guys.
Right. Exactly. It must have just been that. Wayne, I got an idea for you, pal.
Yeah.
As he's sitting there, Wayne, Mike, you're Bo, you're Blake.
Yeah.
You're the Beverly brother. It's
Bo and Blake are very effeminate names.
When you get in trouble, you touch each other. You go for the cold. You go for the warm embrace of your brother.
You're brothers, but we're going to imply that you're fucking. Yeah, that's
right, yeah.
like,
And they're
what kind of gimmick is that?
one of those classic. They walk out of the room and just go, whatever. Like the check clears. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, because then they wrestled like badasses too, which is the best part. Like,
Yes, they did.
when they were so they'd get beaten down, and when they would get beaten down, they would go for like the hugs, like the and then but then when they'd be on offense, they just fucking kick ass. Like there was the awesome Steiner brothers versus Beverly brothers from like I think Rumble '93.
Let me tell you something. That era of WWF tag teams is so underrated because then you had
fucking great.
Then you had the smoking guns who would just murder jobbers on a weekly basis too. You had the Quebecers who would fucking murder people. That era fucking ruled. It's very underrated for the tag teams.
I agree.
The Beverly Brothers finisher was they would throw a man in the air and the other guy would just drill his face into the mat. That was their finisher. I mean, every time they did it, it looked like they were going to cause a broken neck, and I loved every second of it. But yeah, it's the gimmick was so weird. I would have thought Vince would have taken one look at those construction worker deals with the helmets and the fucking hammers and ran with that. He never had did Vince ever have a construction worker? I don't think he did. That's like the only occupation.
Of course. Yeah, the real man's man, Steven Regal.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He's a man. Ching, ching,
Yeah,
ching.
he did.
Remember that song?
Yeah.
And it's another absolute 100% rib. You have the aforementioned Darren Matthews show up in your room. And he probably put like a hammer on the table and said, "Darren, you know what that is?"
Yeah, it's funny. Like he did the aristocrat, rich, snooty gimmick, and then they turned him into the manly man.
Yes.
And they took the manly man Beverly Brothers and turned them into the rich, snooty aristocrat. Definitely not.
Joe,
gay
if I didn't know any
brothers.
better, I would say Vince McMahon kind of sucks at his job sometimes.
Listen, what they say, Rich, on the streets. You're preaching to the choir, my friend. I understand the point you're making.
Maybe instead of making stars, using most of it as an inside joke, using your company as an inside joke. I don't know.
Another great early '90s team brought up in the room, the Head Shrinkers. You throw them in there too. I'm telling you, it was.
Those guys, yeah, they were fucking maniacs.
Yeah, it was a.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it was a really cool era for WWF tag teams. That's all.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, that era is that late 1992, early 1993 is really, really good. I love that era of WWF. So, all right. So then you had the not the main event here. Well, the final match here with Ciampa, Dunn, Knight, and Von Wagner. Tommaso Ciampa gets the win here. Wins the NXT title, the vacant NXT title, which I guess gets us to our next. We'll jump ahead here because we'll talk about the Index wedding, even though there's really nothing to talk about the Index wedding. But the NXT title is stripped. Samoa Joe posts the weirdest video I've ever seen on Sunday at like 7 p.m. It gets posted. Samoa Joe goes, due to certain injuries, I'm going to be out an indeterminate amount of time. But I feel sorry for who's going to win this NXT title because I'm coming for you. And that's it. Samoa Joe stripped of the NXT title. So somehow between his not wrestling, Samoa Joe hurt himself. Got a, quote, certain injury, Joe, and he'll be out in an indeterminate amount of time. He is not injured. Right?
No, man's not in. Man has no injury. No.
Vince McMahon said, "Who's our champion?" I fired his ass. What is he doing on there? So
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good.
Definitely not injured. But then they went and put the title on an old school guy anyway.
Yeah.
Which, he got, Braun fucking Breaker, stepped up to him at the end of the show. So they're putting Braun Breaker.
Yeah, strap him up. Who fucking cares? Why not?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Who cares?
He's in the main event program already, so he's getting the rocket strap. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one thing I enjoyed about the main event was it was like everything else on the show. It was quick and tidy. Didn't overstay its welcome. Didn't try to be an epic.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Bunch of guys did stuff. Tommaso Ciampa just won. Hit his move and won.
Yeah. So those are all positives. I think it's good to see NXT get away from the overindulgence stuff, and I think that they will. So, that's positive. It's an interesting show. I'll watch it next week. I don't know what the hell is going to happen with Samoa Joe. There's a good chance he never wrestles again, right? I mean, he might just have his little administrative backstage role at this point. And because he definitely doesn't fit the profile of what they're trying to do. And it isn't exactly a vote of confidence if they strip you of the title. But no news has really leaked out of what the real story was there. So, that what that tells you is he isn't hurt. Because if he was injured, that would have, been confirmed somewhere.
Yeah, he's certain injuries. I thought the tone of that was pretty interesting. So, that's it for Samoa Joe. So hopefully you liked him winning that title against Karrion Kross, because I don't think he's wrestling again for that company. So, and then we had the Index wedding, which was the weirdest wrestling wedding ever because they just had a wedding and they kissed and then it was it. So
I thought it was legitimately funny.
There was that was exactly my hot take, is there was a few things that happened that were legitimately funny. The Dexter Lumis character is utterly bizarre, but they did some real good lines here. Indy, I thought, did a tremendous job with her lines. Dexter Lumis taking out the first priest after he says, "You have nothing to say," and then he just fucking kills him, basically. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, there was a lot of legitimately funny moments in this one. He shows the axe. He's got the axe like in his jacket, like his suit jacket. I legitimately laughed at WWE programming. I cannot tell you the last time I did that.
It was some of the humor here was actually kind of clever.
Yeah.
Which you're not used to when you watch WWE. You're used to it just being lowest common denominator, eye-rolly kind of, shitty humor. But some of the bits they pulled here were legitimately clever. It was harmless fun. He even had the Bravado brother. What the fuck's his name?
I don't know his NXT name. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, but they call it. Yeah, he did a bit around, having to do with his. I forget what his name is now.
His name is Clint Barrow.
No, it's not. It's
that's his real name. Sorry, Andre Chase.
Andre Chase.
Yeah. Clint Barrow is. I'm sorry to dox Harlan Bravado here with his real name, but yeah, that's okay.
Someone said something. Someone said the word Chase or something, and he stood up and someone say Andre Chase, and I'm like, that's the fucking Bravado, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was silly fun, and it didn't delve too silly, and it was actually kind of clever, and I didn't mind it. And she's got a weird face, but other than that, it was. She's got a weird face.
Fine, I don't care. She's a good-looking woman.
I listen. Yes, very attractive woman. It's just something about her face is a little weird, isn't it?
It's a little droopy. It's a little droopy. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Lovely woman though.
You don't know anything about her. You can't say that.
Nah, I hear good things. Yeah, so they did the wedding, and the show. I knew the show was going to draw because number one, there was a wedding, but number two, there was clearly interest in this rebooted version. But can we please stop saying NXT? Are they going to say NXT 2.0
yes,
forever now?
Of course they are. Even though it's not 2.0, it's not actually the second NXT, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to say that. Are you kidding? It's clearly an edict. That is never going. Yeah, they're calling it 2.0 forever.
Maybe after a month when we get the point.
No.
So every time they're going to say NXT 2.0.
Is this your first time watching this company? Yes.
This week on NXT 2.0.
Yes.
Like, welcome to NXT 2.0.
Yes.
Like they have to say 2.0 every time they say NXT. Like forever, into perpetuity now. It can't just be NXT at some point after we realize it's not.
No, you don't is this your first time? You new here?
It can't be a 1 week thing. And then now we know it's 2.0.
No?
We've got the color splash. We have the uneven logo. So we understand that it's 2.0. Like we have to keep saying it though?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, get used to that, Vic Joseph. They screamed less. They did scream less on this, so that I enjoyed.
It's going to annoy me, but
for sure.
I guess
it's gonna be
ridiculous.
Forever. Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous, but it is what it is. So there you go. That was NXT 2.0. I'm gonna watch next week for sure. Like you said, new booker comes in the territory. It's always exciting. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So Loomis said I do, by the way, or said yes or whatever. So everybody.
He did. There was tension there. We didn't know if he was just gonna murder someone else.
Yeah.
But he did. And now they're married. So now what do you do?
I don't know. Yeah, that might literally be the the end. Vince just probably
just
said,
ignore it.
Yeah, I bet like he was just like, oh, all right, fine, like we'll do it, but then we're done. So, I would be surprised if we ever see. I don't know. Maybe he's taken a liking to this Dexter Lumis character. We'll see what ends up happening. But
Football season is back. Let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool at RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. RunYourPool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and a lot more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with one-week games, full season, playoffs, or the Super Bowl. And unlike other fantasy sports platforms, they've got options and settings to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for your local business, bar, alumni, or restaurant. The NFL season starts September 9th, so check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast or use promo code podcast at checkout. Have your pool up and running in minutes at runyourpool.com/podcast. Don't forget, today you get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast.
That was NXT 2.0, and that is it for our discussions about World Wrestling Entertainment. 2 hours on an hour and a half. A half an hour was on Kevin Mitchell and various 30 for 30s. But let's talk about AEW, what's going on with them. So obviously we have Dynamite from this last week, Thursday tier reviews. Over there at voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon. You just posted that a little bit earlier today for those listening, but $5 tier, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. The Thursday tier reviews for this week's Dynamite, and everything is setting up for next week's huge 2-night event here, Dynamite Grand Slam, and we're doing a Rampage Grand Slam too, a 2-hour Rampage, a 2-hour Dynamite, 4 hours of first run AEW on major networks this next week here. The Dynamite card looks really stacked right now. We got Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr., and FTR versus Darby Allin and Sting is your Dynamite card. I mean, that is fucking loaded.
It is. It's huge.
That rating is going to be big. That's going to be a big boy. I mean, given what the rating for this show was, and the hype train, I mean, this entire show was, we're here this week in New Jersey. New Jersey kind of sucks, but next week we're going to be in New York, and that's the show. Like, the whole show was that. The whole show was, whatever this week. Next week we're going to be there, Arthur Ashe, New York City. So I cannot, I mean, they could not have hard sold next week any more than they did.
They're going to beat Raw for the third week in a row, and they're going to be right on their heels in viewers this time too. I
agree. Yeah, this when you bring Omega and Danielson and Cody versus Malachi and Baker versus Ruby Soho, it's going to be insane.
Did you just hear that weird sound?
Yeah, it says our call ends in 10 minutes. Why? We've never had a problem with this. Upgrade to happening. Google Workspace Individual. How much do I got to pay for this shit?
Don't pay him anything.
$8 a month? Get out of here.
There's obviously some kind of glitch here because we've done this for, they didn't. Yeah, this is nonsense. Something must have happened when I clicked out and clicked back in.
I think so.
Well,
I guess we got to start a new call though because
it's a professional operation.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hit try it for free. There we go. Try it risk free for 14 days. So we're good for 4. Oh, you need my credit card info. Okay, all right.
Oh well, you're not getting that, pal.
Let's see here. I'll cancel it immediately.
I'll tell you what. Just give me your credit card info and your social security number, Rich, and I will handle this.
There we go. I'll do it on the air here. All right. So we'll mute for sure. Okay, I'm all set, Joe. I know.
Your mother's maiden name would be helpful.
Yeah. And, security code. What was your favorite subject in school?
The street you grew up on.
Right.
Make sure you supply me with that as well, and we will take care of this.
Well, Google just got $8 from us, so patreon.com/voicesofwrestling.
Did you really just pay them?
I think I did. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right.
I can cancel anytime, but maybe it's useful. I don't know. I'll look into what it is. So.
Well, there's $4 I'll never get back on the P&L this month.
Patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. $5 or $10 tiers to help us make up for this egregious Google fucking Google Workspace. Get the hell out of here. Anyway. Loaded card.
For light it up like dynamite. Oh.
Do you do that every week?
Every week.
That's awesome.
I snap my fingers. I do the little
Are you getting
shimmy.
better at it? Is that?
What do you mean? That was great. What do you mean? Am I getting? If I were any better, I'd be in the group. I mean, what are you talking about? Could you imagine JL in BTE out there.
BTS, yeah.
BTS?
BTS, yes, is the name of the group, yeah.
Could you imagine me out there with those guys?
Yeah, you'd look good, yeah, and like wearing a long trench coat or something, whatever the cool style of the week is. I don't know.
The one white guy, right, out there with the Korean guys, dancing, right? Give me a little verse to sing.
What would you wear? Would you wear like your leather, like the stereotypical like Joe? Would you wear like what they wear, or would you wear like your leather jacket and jeans and like?
Hold on. What's the stereotypical Joe Lanza look? I need to hear this.
Don't you just wear like a normal button up and like a jean jacket, or not a jean jacket, like a leather jacket?
I've never worn a jean jacket in my life.
Yeah, not the Canadian tuxedo. You're not Bret Hart. No, every time I've seen you, I've only seen you once to be fair. Or I've seen you one weekend, but yeah, you wore a leather jacket, jeans, and like a black shirt every single time.
I didn't know I had it. Well, it was cold in New York City in April. You got to bundle up. You can't.
Is that the look though? I don't know. Is that the look?
That's a typical winter look, I'd say.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So I'm just saying, are you wearing your winter look with the BTS guys, or are you wearing what they're wearing?
Well, listen. I've got to appeal to the demographic, right? So I'd have to mirror their look. Which
now,
I could.
Now they have. I correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're a BTS expert, so you're the perfect guy to ask. You know nothing if not the intricacies of K-pop, but
big fan of Butter.
Love that. Oh yeah. I don't know if that's the thing you just said. That. I just said yes. I don't know what that is. Do they have like the boy band like in America?
It's a number one hit single, Rich. Is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, you really need to get with it.
But do they have the thing where it's like the sexy one, the strong one, the relatable one? Do they have that or no?
Yeah, the athlete.
Because all the American boy bands are always like Joey Fatone. He's like
he's the rebel.
Right, exactly.
He's the cute one.
JC is the one you can bring home to mom. Like,
right.
Type thing. Yeah,
people tell me that is the case.
But they all look the same. Like they're all dressed the same and look the same. And I don't mean that to be like but they all like have the exact, like I watch the videos and they're all wearing the same outfit. And I'm like, how could you tell which one's the sexy one? Like they all,
and who's the bad boy?
Right. They all kind of look like they're all like good looking dudes. I'm like, who's the bad boy and who's the sexy boy? Like I can't tell. So
they all have the same style, so there's no determining.
Right, they're all wearing the same like polo. Yeah,
it
just all looks exactly the same. So I don't get how you know which one is which.
Well, people tell me that is the case.
Okay, that's good to know.
So whatever.
Maybe deep down, if you're really deep in, that there's like this. Yeah, that's possible.
Well, if they need a king of banter, I clearly
right
crush the lyrics, so they know where to look. Because. They definitely need a white guy of my age out there with my button-up shirt and leather.
Yeah,
jacket.
They're really struggling. They could definitely use. They could definitely use you to get that market. Yeah.
Yeah. Dynamite.
Catchy though, definitely catchy. Every time I've heard one of their songs, I enjoy it. So.
How can you not hear every other commercial?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dynamite. The girl on the subway with the phone that folds in half, and. BTE is in the fucking window. BTS is in the fucking train window singing Dynamite. I mean, it's on every 30 seconds at every commercial break on anything that you watch. So, but we were talking about Dynamite, so I wanted to give you a little bit of Dynamite.
Yeah, thank you. So that's an absolutely loaded show. Arthur Ashe should be an awesome venue for wrestling too. I cannot wait to see what it looks like. It's going to be just a tremendous show. So that is Dynamite Grand Slam. The Rampage Grand Slam, what we have on that so far, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express, CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and then the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager on the Rampage card. Presumably more will be announced on this week's Rampage. That is probably not a complete card, and obviously they're doing 2 hours of Rampage, so there'll be probably a lot more matches on that one, so we'll see about that. And Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki is happening, but they have not announced which show it's happening on just yet. So I'd imagine probably on Rampage, given that there's spots open on Rampage, but we'll see. But man, it's a loaded 4 hours of wrestling, and that's going to be just an awesome atmosphere there. I cannot wait to watch that.
Rampage is going to do a huge number too. I mean, because Wednesday is going to be so huge and feels so big and feels so exciting. And then you have CM Punk wrestling on Friday, and that's going to be this big 2 hour thing. And people, and I mean, the crowd's going to be hot. It's going to be electric. I mean, Rampage is going to do another big number too. Rampage is going to do over 1 million viewers again.
Yeah.
And Rampage had started to settle to its settle point. And I think this week's number will be, the settle point, probably somewhere in the 0.2s, the high 0.2s, 600 to 700,000 viewers. But then next week is going to spike Rampage back up again. And Dynamite is probably going to beat Raw for the third week in a row. I think they'll nip at their heels with the total viewership.
Yeah, that is going to be what to watch for. I mean, the demo, I think there's not even an argument. I think it's going to beat that demo for sure. Going to beat that demo
with Danielson Omega. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like 3 days ago, people thought that card was going to be underwhelming. People were thinking like MJF Pillman was going to be the main event of that. And now look at that card. I mean, you've got Britt Baker.
It's a pay-per-view. It's a fucking pay-per-view. You got Cody and Malachi, which you've built up for months. You got Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, which is probably the biggest women's match you could do right now. MJF and Pillman has been just masterfully built. You cannot wait for that. That's fucking Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. Are you kidding?
I know.
It's an embarrassment of riches. It's an embarrassment of riches. And Sting's on the show too.
Yeah. It's just, I mean,
they're so good.
They're on fire.
Just a wrestling company that books wrestling and just understands it and gets it. It's awesome. But yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to see that overall viewership number. But like I said, they could not have hyped up that show any more on this week's Dynamite than they did. I mean, that was as big and as coordinated a build as I've almost ever seen for a show. Just like next week, you got to be here. You're an absolute idiot type of build stuff, and they're right. So
yeah, I wanted to talk about planting their flag in Chicago. Give me 1 second here. TLB, I'm glad you're here. My phone is somewhere downstairs. I don't know where it is. If you can find that, that would be tremendous.
We could be missing some scoops right now.
Yeah, I don't know where it is because I don't. Did you see it downstairs or no?
I haven't seen it at all.
All right, well that's not good.
No.
Could be in a car. It could be in a.
His water bottle's missing as well.
I think my ringer's on. Rich, can you call my phone?
You want me to call your phone? I can do that right now. Let me.
Yeah, Rich will call the phone.
Yeah,
I had something else to ask you though. Oh, did you turn the air off? Because I'm sweating my balls off in here now.
It's freezing. It's 74.
That's freezing?
It's freezing here.
Hey, we're ringing. Let's focus here.
All right, I'll suffer. My phone's ringing.
Let's go.
See if you can hear it. Nothing. I don't hear it. No, I have the ring. I definitely have the ringer on. Anyway, if you could find my, this is great radio, by the way.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
If it's down there, just if you can grab it for me. If not, no big deal. I'll find it later. Maybe I left it in the car. It is so fucking hot in here. You have no idea. She's like, it is so hot.
You're my wife too. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Oh, look at, what do you have? Do you have this fan on the lowest possible speed? Look at this thing.
Just start slow, slow.
It's got to gear up. I could push it faster than
No,
that. Look
it
at
definitely goes faster than that.
this is producing no wind. This is like
Start. Pull the string then.
I don't want to mess with that
Now
because
I'm concerned about your dang phone.
don't worry about my phone. Who cares? Like I talk to anyone anyway.
I do care.
I mean, I guess I could live without it. Remember like that 4-month period where I had no phone and I was just loving life?
It's very liberating. It's very liberating.
Oh, it was so good.
You had a 4-month period, you didn't have a phone. And you're
Yeah.
like, it's fine. I don't need a phone.
Yeah.
I'm a free man. I don't need these strings attached to me.
Yeah.
Let me
See,
tell you one thing.
see, that's something I'd say. You're right about
What
that.
bothers me is, now when you got the phone,
Right.
you're on the phone.
I know.
You're not talking, but you're on the phone.
I'm addicted to the phone. There's no question.
We go to eat. I'm talking to you. It could be a real enticing conversation. The phone and the scroll and the thumb is going in.
You're getting in trouble here.
Do you know why I'm going to tell you?
Millennial Joe here, scrolling on his phone all day.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of addict are you? No withdrawals. You're just like, but then you're on it, then you're off of it. I don't understand.
Do you know why I'm constantly on the phone when we're out at a nice dinner? I'm going to tell you why. Because people on Twitter are wrong and I have to tell them. That's why.
Right, these dopes.
And that's very important that they must know that they're wrong.
This 12-year-old. This 12-year-old.
Yeah, there's some 12-year-old on Twitter who's definitely wrong, and I have to let him know
Doesn't
that he's
understand
wrong.
wrestling history, and I need to let him know.
I know. I did. Look, it was great not having it, and just part of me that hopes that my phone is just lost.
No.
But because I didn't hear it ring, he called it and it didn't ring. Maybe you can go call it and walk around the house and see if you hear
I
it.
already checked your dang car because I checked your car for her water bottle for school and it's gone. And she's cried already, missing it.
I know she didn't have it this morning. I don't know what happened to it.
It was sitting on the table. I pulled it up. It was sitting on the table. You know I do that every morning, right?
I don't know. All right. Well, I got a show to do here. All right.
The bricks.
Yeah.
The bricks toots.
The kid's water bottle. I don't care. All I cared about was my phone. The water bottle can wait. Yeah, I took the kid to school. She's like getting out of the car. She's like, I don't have my water bottle. I'm like, well, I don't know. You got to get out of the car. She's like, but I'm going to be thirsty. I'm like, well, I don't know. Too bad. Just go. It's time to go to school. So I don't know what's going on with the water bottle either. I'm like, buy a fucking chocolate milk or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Here's a Coke C. Here's a Coke C. There you go.
Yeah.
I got an extra.
Anyway, what were we talking about here before Joe was handling his fucking
Joe planning his weekend?
Yeah.
Chicago. AEW's coming back to Chicago. They're Thanksgiving Eve. They're doing a Dynamite and Rampage on Wednesday, November 24th. From the Wintrust Arena. That's where Revolution was as well. So not the Now Arena that All Out was, not the United Center, back to Wintrust Arena in actual downtown Chicago as well. Pretty close to. I'm pretty sure TK's dad lives like blocks away from the arena, so he could literally walk to Thanksgiving dinner from this arena. So good booking by TK there.
So I like planting the flag in Chicago for a number of reasons. Number one, the owner of the company is essentially from Chicago.
Yes.
For business purposes, he's from Chicago. Okay. Number two, Chicago has always been a great wrestling town, but also a great non-WWE wrestling town. I mean, historically, going back to the 19th century, going back to
Hackenschmidt at Comiskey Park, and it goes way back.
Legendary matches at Comiskey Park, So, and then right on through when it became an AWA town, and then Crockett ran Chicago, and Ring of Honor has always done great in Chicago.
Yeah, the Dragon Gate 6-man took place there. Yeah, one of the more iconic matches in American wrestling history.
Yeah, always a great town for Ring of Honor. A long and deep indie wrestling history in Chicago, going back to Windy City Wrestling in the 80s. There's Lucha has always been very popular in Chicago. So it's a great town for them for a million different reasons to plant their flag in. It's centralized. You can drive there from a bunch of other Midwestern cities. It's obviously has the largest airport in the United States, which is, a hub for a bunch of major airlines. So it's an easy city to get to, either, on ground or through air. So there's just a billion different reasons why it's been very smart and very advantageous to plant their flag there and make Chicago sort of their home base in a lot of ways outside of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not a major city. Chicago is a major American city, and it has all of those things that we've talked about. So, you've got Jacksonville, which will always be there for them, but Chicago as their flagship, major hub, the city that they own that town now. I mean, that is an AEW town.
Oh yeah. It's because if you look at the rate, the tickets for this Thanksgiving Eve thing, I mean, they're already like pretty much done. They're sold out immediately. It's nuts.
And I'm someone who was like, oh, maybe they're burning it out. No. I mean, it's
they could run here. Yeah, they should. They should take a little break here because I'm kind of exhausted of going to these shows. But no, I mean, they just proved November. They put tickets up. They're gone.
The thing about burning out towns, though, is you have to have bad shows.
Right.
People forget about that. It's not just, Memphis sold out the Mid-South Coliseum every week, and
the Sportatorium was pretty hot for a long amount of time until it got bad, and then it wasn't hot. So
yeah, and territories, went to the same towns over and over for decades on end. You don't kill towns unless you have bad shows, and if they keep having great shows in Chicago, look at the shows that Chicago just got. Why would you not buy a ticket to the next one? You're not going to say, fucking All Out. I don't want to watch this anymore. No, you're going to buy a ticket the next time they go on sale. It's you saw CM Punk debut there. You saw this great pay-per-view. So as long as the shows are good, you're not going to fucking, you're not going to kill a town.
People got weird about that. People, we used to argue with people in the old days, even before the flagship, like with Ring of Honor. When Ring of Honor would run these great shows, and people say, "Oh, they're burning everybody out with these like long shows," and all the shows were fucking great.
Yeah,
I would buy the tickets to the next show, and I did that for 5 straight years. Bought every single ticket to every show they went to front row because they were all good. They never burnt me out. They burnt me out when they had a 7-hour TV taping that stunk. And I never went back. You know what I mean? Like, that's what burns it out. They're not burning out the territory with a bunch of great shows. Nobody that went to All Out is thinking, Rampage, Dynamite, I don't know. Like, if you went to the first dance and you went to All Out, like, yeah, you're good. You've built up some equity there with that fan base. But no, I mean, obviously it's my town, so I'm a little biased here in saying, I love that being the hometown, the hub. But you're absolutely right in all the stuff you said. I mean, the cool thing about Chicago, in a lot of different ways, like you said, Milwaukee, easy driving distance from Indianapolis, easy driving distance, a little bit longer, but St. Louis, you can get up there from there. So all 3 of those cities kind of, get into there. Detroit, even if you really wanted to, it's a little bit of a hike, but it's not bad. And yeah, like you said, a big hub, 2 major airports, including the biggest airport. I mean, the biggest and the busiest airport, and you can go there, you can fly there pretty cheap a lot of times. 10,000 places to stay at, even if you don't want to stay in the city. A huge sprawling suburb, a huge sprawl of suburbs that you can stay at. I mean, just it's just a perfect spot for it, and it's got it has the connection, like you said, not only with Tony and Shad and their business and that stuff, and where they actually truly live, which Shad Khan obviously does live still in the city, but also you have the connection with All In as well. All In taking place in Chicago, Pro Wrestling Tees being based in Chicago, and it just makes all the sense in the world. There's just no reason not to kind of plant your flag there, and yeah, when you've done so well by that town and the town's done well by you, I mean, there's no point in not doing it. Plus, you got 4 or 5 different arenas that you can run. And he's run the United Center. He's run Wintrust. He's run the Now Arena, Allstate / Rosemont Horizon. That's probably not going to happen just because of their loyalty to WWF. But who knows? Yeah, I don't know. But either way, you're good. You got a lot of like world-class, buildings. You got a world-class city. Why not? Why not plant your flag there? It's perfect.
Yeah, it just makes too much sense. So, WWF ran MSG every month for fucking 2 decades. I mean, for decades on end. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's a little overrated sometimes when we talk about, burning certain cities out. I think, if you keep giving them great shows and people leave them happy, I think you can be okay. That's how pro wrestling worked for forever. So, when is that? You said Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. So they've said that, I think in past years. They did this a couple years ago with Thanksgiving as well. The day before Thanksgiving, they did a Dynamite taping, or a live Dynamite. They did that from the Now Arena that time, but yeah, this time they're doing Wintrust Arena, and they've said I think that's going to be coming moving forward or forever moving forward. Yeah, because like I forget what the scrum was. It was a scrum that he did a couple years ago and said, yeah, my plan is to every Thanksgiving Eve run in Chicago, because like I said, then he's there. Thanksgiving dinner is all settled. Right. He's walking across in the Wintrust and he's there and he's ready to go. So yeah, that seems like a consistent thing. So yeah, it's cool. It's a weird Thanksgiving Eve is always a tough day. Depending on what you're doing for the holidays and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, it should be a pretty fun tradition. So
the old busiest travel day of the year, Mitch. That's what they say.
A big bar day as well. A big drinking day now too. So
yes.
But yeah.
Hopefully people aren't combining those.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're doing airline travel, you could make that work. But yeah. Anyway, that is AEW's return to Chicago. I've gotten word that the dog can get his water again, so give me a moment because he's currently scratching me. So one moment, and
great.
No food, but he can have the water. So here we go. All right.
This is some show. 86 Mets, missing phone, missing water bottle, a dog that's dying of dehydration, and a little bit of wrestling. Joe Lanza's stereotypical outfit, which I'm still baffled by. Just running down all of the wonderful topics on this show this week. I'm still
stupid show.
The Joe Lanza stereotypical outfit is still getting me. I didn't know this was a thing. All right.
I don't know. Maybe be more aware of it and see. Maybe I'm wrong. It was cold. I probably wore the same thing every day too. So I
didn't wear the same thing every day. I didn't wear anything.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It was like 3 days and I brought like 5 shirts. I didn't wear the same thing on any back-to-back day. Was I supposed to bring a different outer jacket to wear every day?
No, that's ridiculous. No,
Who does that?
I would never ask you to do that.
Who does that? Okay? No one wears a different fucking outer jacket every day. Jeez. Now I'm fired up.
I apologize for sensitive subject here. All right, let's conclude our show here with a little bit of ROH. Speaking of Chicago territory there, ROH for many years, great Chicago territory, and for many years, a great territory. These days, ROH is ROH. Death Before Dishonor, Joe. I did not watch the pre-show 16-man Honor Rumble match won by Alex Zane. The return. Well, actually, I guess the date. Well, I don't know. Did he debut here? I forget if he's ever actually been in ROH before. But Alex Zane wins the Honor Rumble. Did you watch the Honor Rumble?
I did.
How was it? It was a battle royal.
16-man timed battle royal.
Yeah, so 32 minutes I'm seeing here. I'm not watching that ever. So
yeah, listen, Alex Zane obviously is someone they have plans for because he won the fucking thing. So, there's a lot of the underneath guys. Flip Gordon was booked well. You had all your ROH underneath guys like Joe Keys, who never seems to get pushed. Brian Johnson, guys like that. Dak Draper. And then all the guys who are a little bit higher on the card, but just didn't have anything to do this on this particular pay-per-view. PCO finishing up the string, PJ Black, guys like that. Danhausen, who always seems to be on the pre-show. So it was fine for what it was. It was okay.
Then we got the main show here. Started with Dalton Castle versus Eli Isom, which I thought was pretty decent. There was a time there where Dalton Castle looked like he was absolutely done. He's not like as good as he used to be, but he's moving around a lot better than he was that 1 year period where he just like could not move whatsoever. Eli Isom, I've always been kind of impressed by him. I think he's pretty solid, but I mean, this was just kind of a decent 10-minute opener. Nothing huge that we have to write home about. Just a solid opener between two guys.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add.
Then we'll move on to a very strange match here. Taylor Rust, the former Russ Taylor, now he's Taylor Rust, defeated the returning Jake Atlas. So Jake Atlas making his return to the independent scene here for Ring of Honor. And they had a 6-minute match that was not very good. Jake Atlas looked like he got knocked out at a certain point. I don't know if they rushed to the finish. I don't know what happened. But when it was over, I said, woof, that was not very good. Neither guy looked very good. Jake Atlas didn't look like his heart was in it. Taylor Rust was a little weird. And then the match is over, and it's not very good. And then Jake Atlas says, I'm done with wrestling. I retire.
Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah, but his heart was not in. Injury aside, whatever the hell happened there, this looked like a man who was defeated before even.
I didn't think it was a very good match.
I thought it was real bad. I was thinking, man, these are the guys that just came from, the big place. These are the guys that just came from NXT. I think, and Russ Taylor's always been like, okay, you know what I mean? He's been fine. Jake Atlas, I'm on record as saying I've never been super, super impressed by him. But this looked like a dude that just did not want to be there and clearly does not want to be there as he announces his retirement from wrestling. If that'll last, it's a wrestling retirement. Who the hell knows? But
he'll be back.
He'll be back for sure. But yeah, he did not. His heart was not in it on this night at all.
I think he just needs to clear his head. And he lost his job and he admitted he had some mental health issues along the way. He probably just needs to clear his head. He's still in his 20s and, it's pro wrestling, so I just assume everyone's going to be back at some point.
Yeah, 26-year-olds don't usually retire from wrestling, so yeah.
Look, if he finds something else to do, good for him. There's a lot of other things you could do other than fall on your head. So if that's the case, great. But history tells us that he'll recharge his batteries and probably be back at some point. But we'll see.
Then we had a match that people are not talking about that much. When I hear like, what's the best match on this Death Before Dishonor show? What match did you really like? I fucking love this match. Violence Unlimited, Chris Dickinson, Homicide, and Tony Deppen versus John Walters, Lee Moriarty, and LSG. I thought this was tremendous. It was 11 minutes. They just got in there. Everybody just beat each other's ass. Quick tags, quick entrances, dives, punches, kicks. I thought this was really good. And then when I was done, I didn't read anybody else that really thought this match was very good. I don't know. Am I on an island all to myself? What do you think of this one?
I can't comment because I didn't see a ton of this. This was head to head with the Ram game on Sunday night. So I was kind of in and out on some of these mid-card matches. I didn't see enough of this to comment. So let me
see what the inmates at Cage Match said, because I'm honestly go one of these days if you get a chance to watch this match and see. They gave it a 6.86, which would be
close to 7, 3.5.
Yeah, it'd be technically the fourth best match on the show, which I think it was way better than that. I thought this was really, really good stuff here. You would appreciate it too. I think this is the best way to do a multi-man match where it never feels like there's one guy, and like it felt like chaotic. Like there was always a guy in the ring, there was always a guy getting beaten down, there was always a guy, you know, trying to get to a tag. It just felt like it was just boom, 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 just really, really quick action between these guys. And everybody's really, I mean, all these guys are really good. John Walters was cool as hell, just putting in, like, you know, he's going pure wrestling rules. Homicide gets in there and just chops the fuck out of him. Chris Dickinson comes in and he's Chris Dickinson. Tony Deppen flying all over the place. Yeah, I thought it was tremendous. Really, really nice match.
They beat a lot of the guys that are on their way out on this show. PCO was a non-factor in the Battle Royal. Lee Moriarty signed with AEW. And
yeah, got the pin. I don't know if you saw this, but they stacked him up and like pinned him. You know, Dickinson, Homicide, and Deppen all pinned Lee Moriarty at the same time, I think, just to kind of say, all right, hit the bricks, pal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they knew this was Atlas's only shot, so he lost. Dragon Lee and Bestia Del Ring lost later on, so they did a good job with the classic beating guys on the way out and beating guys who were on their way out, and you know, obviously they did that here as well. So
then we had the OG Kingdom here, Matt Taven and Michael Bennett versus the Briscoes, and they got the win. I was a little bit surprised by this.
Yeah, because I thought the whole Briscoe story after the farm brawl was going to be that they were working their way back to the tag team titles for the
right. Yeah, exactly. And so far they've done pretty well. They've been beating these low end tag teams.
They've
whatever.
been winning all their matches. Yeah,
right. And then now they just randomly here lose to the OGK, which that was a little strange.
Yeah, very strange. I thought for sure. Like I'm glad they didn't have betting lines for this. I would have bet on the Briscoes and lost. I thought for sure they would, at minimum, earn a tag team title match, and then who knows what happens in that match. But no, they just got cut off right here. So, yeah, it was a strange result.
Josh Woods, Jonathan Gresham, pure title match here. Josh Woods defeats Jonathan Gresham. A little bit of a surprise here for a lot of people as well. Wins the pure title from Gresham. What do you think of this match? I saw a lot of people that really, really liked it. I thought it was good, but I don't know. These pure matches don't really hit on the same level for me that they do for some people. And I actually have an interesting take on that as well. But first off, what would you think of this before I go into my thing?
Well, they did a double pin, and Gresham did the honorable babyface pure wrestling thing and said, I don't want to retain my title like that. So ring that fucking bell. I'm either winning or losing. And they continued it, and then Woods won. Now, people are saying that there was some messy pin where someone didn't kick out. I didn't notice it, and I was watching with the sound down again because of the Rams game. So I can't speak on sort of that flubbed pin. Now, there's other people saying they did sort of the 2.9 raise your shoulder near fall, but there was just a bad camera angle on it. So a lot of people thought that it was a botched kick out, but it was just bad camera work. I don't know. All I know is I didn't notice it. So removing that as a factor, because I didn't even know it happened, I thought the match was pretty good. I didn't think it was great, but there's a high floor on these Jonathan Gresham pure matches.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get solid wrestling and a good story. And the thing with Gresham is you're always going to get a different kind of finish. He very rarely repeats a finish. So I enjoyed it. I'm told that if you follow the television, you kind of like, this shouldn't have been a surprise. A lot of people expected Woods to win. I haven't been following the television, so it came off as a surprise to me. And no, I thought it was a cool little match, and I like the idea of restarting it after the double pin. I mean, so yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yes, so I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good work, and it's, you know, like like you said, the floor of a Jonathan Gresham pure title is pretty damn good, you know, at its core. But one of the things that I was noticing, and I actually got this when I'm going through this for the series, I'm doing CM Punk Best in the World, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, $5 tier, going back and watching old CM Punk matches. I'm remembering why I initially liked the pure rules back when it first got introduced, and I know you and I have had discussions about this, and you were kind of so on the pure rules for a while there, right?
Yeah.
But the thing I liked about when they first introduced it, because one of the matches I was watching was AJ Styles versus CM Punk, and it was for the inaugural, you know, pure title. And I'm remembering, oh yeah, that's why I really liked the pure rules when it first came out, is because instead of doing, hey, this guy is a pure wrestler, this guy is one of the guys from the pure wrestling division, because that's what they're kind of doing now with the pure title, is like these guys, when they're getting into the match, or when they're getting into the company, I'm a pure rules wrestler. I do that, I want to wrestle the pure rules, and that, they're kind of pigeonholing them into that. What was cool about the original Pure Rules, and I think the reason why I liked a lot of those matches, is it took guys out of their comfort zone. It was, hey, here's CM Punk, a normal wrestler. Now he's got to use these rules. Hey, here's AJ Styles, who we've seen for years. Okay, now he can only use few rope breaks. Now he can only do this. And little by little, they got away from like taking the actual wrestlers out of their comfort zone and making it that way to guys that were just, hey, I'm a Pure Rules wrestling guy. And I think I prefer the uncomfortable wrestler trying to figure out how to use the rules thing over like two guys that understand the rules and use them to perfection. I don't know. That's just the way I've always felt about it.
Yeah, sort of the guy out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, because that was cool. It was like Punk, went for a quick rope break, and the referee's like, you can't do that, and it's Punk being like, shit, you're right. He got in an arm. There was like an arm ringer that AJ Styles had him in, and he grabbed the rope, and the referee's like, "That's a rope break." And Punk's like, "Oh fuck!" Like he's got that look on his face, like, "God damn it, you're right." Like, and then Styles got caught. One. Yeah, and that was always kind of cool. Whereas now these guys are experts of the style, and I don't know. It's just kind of you're starting to lose me a little bit with that. It's just to me, it's a little more boring when it's just like, "Hey, here's two experts of this style." I don't know. It's just not.
Then there were guys who cheated in the pure matches later on, like to get heat. Like they so yeah, they did different things with them in the previous eras. I hear what you're saying.
But now it's just like guys that go in and grapple. You know what I mean? And it's like I like them, but there's a shelf life to them, and I'm starting to get a little bit bored by the style, I think. So
yeah.
And there was a lot of people are like, oh well, this is what makes Ring of Honor different. That should be the thing that Ring of Honor pushes. Like, I don't think this company's could be very good if that's what they push.
Being different's good, but you can't have a whole promotion.
No,
in the current land, you can't. Yeah,
it would
not if you want to be a serious player. You can't. Right. I mean, you could do it on a niche level. And there's people who would argue that a Ring of Honor is a niche level, but I wouldn't argue that. They're owned by $1 billion conglomerate. They give out 6-figure contracts. They have a television show that's expected to draw sponsors. So I don't think you could have a whole promotion of that on at the level that a Ring of Honor is operating on.
ROH World 6-man tag titles here. It was Shane Taylor Promotions defending against Dragon Lee, Kenny King, and La Bestia del Ring. They did an angle here where Shane Taylor got beaten up by Kenny King before the match. O'Shea Edwards fills in. Shane Taylor Promotions wins anyway. Shane Taylor comes in later, beats Kenny King with the chair to help Shane Taylor Promotions win. I don't know. What'd you think of this match? I thought it was a little, it was fine. There was parts that I liked, but it was a little clunky at times too.
Now the right side won. Daniel Jones, he's just overthrowing these deep balls. I may or may not have a few dollars on this.
You might have a rooting interest in
for entertainment purposes only. No, the right side won. The right team won. I think with Shane Taylor Promotions, they're really behind this act as well. They should be. I don't know which ones, but a couple of these guys are going to emerge as players in this company. You could just feel it. And one of them may not be Shane Taylor. I think it's going to be some of these.
Yeah, he looks like he's getting passed up by these other guys. I think O'Shea Edwards is a guy to definitely keep your eye on. I think Khan is the other guy, or Khan, I think, is the other guy. I forget. I don't know the difference between Khan and Moses, and I feel bad about that. I know O'Shea Edwards, and he's going to be a dude. I forget which one's Khan and which one's Moses, but I think Moses is the bigger one with the dreadlocks, I want to say. But I forget exactly. But yeah, there's guys in there. O'Shea Edwards is definitely a guy. Shane Taylor feels like less of a guy by the days, but that's fine. This is all to get those other dudes over, and this is a good win for them. No doubt about it.
All they do is go out there and win. They push them properly.
Yeah, it's exactly how you're supposed to do it, and again, the right win, and especially with Roosh leaving, there's just no point in giving Dragon Lee, Kenny King, and La Bestia del Ring the win here. So good booking decision, and up and down the card, I think solid booking decisions throughout. Yeah. And that's kind of Ring of Honor. It can be boring at times. It can be painfully boring at times, but they're a solid, well-booked wrestling promotion. It's just, it's hard to get really energized about Ring of Honor.
You bring the fans back, I'll watch it every week.
Well, apparently they're doing the opposites. Apparently they're not having any fans
I know,
for
it's
the rest
frustrating.
of the year. And I understand. I get it. But like, it's just, from a personal standpoint, I'm just not going to pay attention to you guys. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't do it. I can't. Not in this environment.
I mean, New Japan Strong is going to have fans back. I mean, everyone's going to have fans back at this point. It's really hard to watch the fucking empty arena, fucking warehouse wrestling now. with these crowds that Dynamite has every week. It's just so hard to do it. It's just like it's hard. But
then we had the match that I think a lot of people are calling the best match of the night here. Roxy versus Miranda Alizé for the a women's world title final. Roxy gets the win, becomes the new champion. What do you think of this one? I think a lot of people are giving it a little bit more praise than I'm kind of comfortable with, but I thought it was very good. I think it's right up there with one of the best matches of the night. I'm just seeing a little, reel it in a little bit. I think pump the brakes a little bit on this one.
Yeah,
but good stuff.
It's the curve. The curve. The curve is real. It was a good wrestling match. Yeah.
Yeah, it was simple, well booked. Roxy being the little, getting destroyed by Miranda Alizé, firing up. It's just classic like pro wrestling 101. So yeah, I have no real complaints about it. I thought it was really, really good, but it wasn't quite as good as some people were saying, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Is it getting wild reviews like that? I don't even know.
In some circles, like the Inmates on Cage Match 7.68, which would make it far and away the best match. Yeah, it's not that outrageous.
But this wasn't a great show. I mean, this was a show where a lot of stuff was like 3.5 stars.
On Cage Match, 9 people gave it a 9 out of 10. I think that might be
it's a little heavy-handed.
I've seen a few 4.5 stars type stuff, and it's like
no shot. Oh, come on.
Pump those brakes a little. Good little match, but
like a 3.25, 3.5 star match. It was
right, which is fine. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was well worked, and it was a solid match. And I think they really handled their tournament well. There's a new face on top. They didn't just go to the old faces, or and they went with a new fresh face who's also a pretty good worker. So from that perspective, they handled the tournament well.
What do you think of the erasure of the Women of Honor World Championship? Are you bothered by that show?
I got to be completely honest. I don't even notice. Is that what they're doing?
Well, they like on this, they were like, oh, we're going to crown the first ever ROH Women's World Champion, which is not incorrect. They are, but yeah, there was the Women of Honor Championship. You know what I mean?
Again, I watched with the sound down, so this is all new to me. I had no idea that they were rebranding the title. Yeah. So I had no idea. Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Well, it doesn't help that Kelly Klein was the last champion, so they might want to be
right. So they
disassociating with her and that title. So
wiping her from history this way. I don't know if it. I'm sure that's a nice little side piece part of it, but it's also just cleaner to call this the ROH Women's World title.
I
right?
agree. I don't really have that big of an issue with it. It's fine. It's wrestling.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And then you had the world title 4-corner survival elimination match here. Bandito, Brody King, Demonic Flamita, and EC3. This was weird. I don't know. This is a very strange match. First off, you have EC3, who, I don't know if we're changing the narrative here, is fucking dreadful. I'm not booking him ever again for anything.
He's not good.
He doesn't, does he not want to? Like, what are we doing here? Is he just leaning into the I'm bad thing? Like,
I think physically he just can't do it, and he's
atrocious. He's so bad.
He's got cartilage on cartilage. He's got bone on bone knees with no cartilage.
How is he so injured? What did he do to get so injured? I don't understand.
I think he's had shoulder issues too. So he's just trying to get by on look.
Maybe take 150 pounds off your fucking frame then, dude.
Well, maybe he figures if he's not this extreme body guy and his body's banged up, then what is he? I mean, maybe, MJF took his gimmick and does it better. So what's left?
True, yeah.
That might be the way that he sees it. But I don't see the point. Why was he in the match if he was just going to slap on a side headlock and then get himself disqualified?
Right, hit the guy with the chair and then leave, yeah.
I mean, don't put him in a match. I mean, if that's the way you're going to book his elimination, then just have the other 3 guys in the match. I don't know. It's just, you're right though. He's hard to watch. There's just nothing there with him. And, it's a shame. I feel like he's a guy who had a real positive upward trajectory when the EC3 character was hot. He was really carrying Impact for a while there. And, physically it just, his body, and then he had the bad run in WWE where they didn't push him at all. Where you basically forgot he was in the company when he went back after the Impact run. And that just totally derailed, his career from there. I mean, I used to go to indie shows that he was on, and he would sit in a chair and watch every match. I think he wants to be really good. And I just think, and plus, he's not young anymore either. He's got to be in his late 30s.
He's 38.
Yeah, I mean, this was a WWE developmental guy over a decade ago.
For years. He was there so much longer than you think he was.
Yeah, before the Impact run, and then the long Impact run, and then 2 or 3 more years in WWE, then indie time, and now this run. And it's just I think he just wants to be great, and he just his body's not cooperating, and I don't know. It's not going to happen though for this guy. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm just not booking him anymore. I just don't think. Yeah, it's weird, and it sucks because he's a great promo and the great look and all that sort of stuff. But yeah,
it's like with this character though, he isn't even really like it. I don't think this gimmick is suited for him. Like I know he's trying something different, and I don't know. It's just he's not a wrestler I'm interested in at all.
No, yeah, he's go away heat now for me for sure. Every time I see him on the screen, and luckily he was out of here in a couple minutes. Then you had Brody King eliminated Demonic Flamita. Some good action there. When it was Bandito, Brody King, and Demonic Flamita, it was pretty good because you had Bandito and Flamita, reviving their team and kind of beating up and double teaming Brody King, and eventually Brody King did get the better of Demonic Flamita. And then you had Bandito and Brody King, and they had an okay 4 minutes, and then Bandito just kind of rolled him up and got the 1-2-3, and it was over. So I don't know. I thought it was a good match, but I was pretty disappointed by the end result. It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't light my world on fire for a main event of a Death Before Dishonor. So.
No, yeah. I mean, the show was okay. I didn't hate the show, but there was nothing great on it either, and it wasn't. I mean, it's ironic they finally had fans, and I didn't listen to it no sound. I watched
right.
So,
You finally got the chance.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd wasn't that hot either about it, so I don't know. They're in a very, very weird spot right now, and I just don't know how they get out of it or navigate it.
Well, they're going to let some contracts expire, and they're going to press the reset button. They're at the end of an era. Okay, the Roosh and all of his Lucha Pals and PCO, all those big splashy signings they made 2 years ago, and this era got badly disrupted by COVID, and now this era is coming to an end, and all of those guys are going to be gone.
Right, COVID and Party Marty having some issues.
Exactly, Party he's gone. Yeah, so come January, they're basically pressing the reset button. They're probably going to go out and attempt some more splashy free agent signings and rebuild from there. I mean, I would have liked to have seen what Ring of Honor could have done without COVID with that big money roster and all the resources they put into it.
It felt real hot, man. Go back to our February 2020 ROH discussions. We were like, oh man, this year is going to be awesome. So
yeah. And they're one of the promotions that was hurt the most because they treated COVID probably better than anyone else in the world did. I mean, in terms of taking care of their people and whatnot, but the flip side of that is it really derailed the promotion because they didn't exist for, 8, 9, 10 months or whatever it was. And now they've barely had any fans since they returned, and they're taking away fans again. And outside of CMLL, they've probably been hurt the worst. They've probably been hurt worse than New Japan. So I would put Ring of Honor probably number 2 after CMLL with promotions that are just. Oh, geez.
Yeah. See, I was going to say maybe the most, but I forget that CMLL has literally not run a show. They're running this weekend finally in Arena Mexico again. So,
yeah, they ran empty Arena Mexico a couple times. But, yeah, so we'll see. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is Sinclair decides we're done putting money into this. Run it at a bargain basement level and just keep giving us our cheap programming. That would be bad for the wrestling scene. So hopefully Sinclair still lets Joe Kopp run this thing at a real money level, because I think that's good for the scene.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Something like a Ring of Honor is great for the pro wrestling scene. Something like the NWA is great for the pro wrestling scene. We need that. Yep. For sure. So yeah, hopefully it remains and hopefully it stays. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a tough promotion to get a handle on right now. It's just I don't know what their identity is, and I don't know what there is to get excited about it. And that's kind of been an issue for Ring of Honor for a while. I mean, the pieces are there and the resources are there. it's just, yeah, it's been a very tough company to really get on board with at any point over the last couple of years. So,
do you think getting the pure title off Gresham means he's going to be pushed as a top guy?
I think so. Yeah. When that happened, I was like, wow, I'm surprised, but it's like, oh, okay, they get it now. They're going to go with him as a guy. I hope. I hope that would be the direction for me. I think he's the most marketable guy that they have right now, or one of the most marketable guys they have right now. I think he's gotten his body in just an absolutely tremendous shape as well. So I think it's time to probably pull the trigger on that for sure. So. Yeah. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for some Gresham Bandito stuff, or they got the talents there. Bandito's there. Brody King's great. Gresham's good. There's dudes there. It's just, Dickinson. I love Chris Dickinson. So there's stuff there, but it's just, it's a matter of getting it all together and figuring out an identity as well. So.
Yep. So we were going to do some G1 stuff. We don't really have time to do that. We're pretty much done, right? We have almost no time left.
We have almost no time, no. But it feels very weird. We had some people in the chat room say, "Can you believe the G1 is happening in a couple days and we didn't even talk about it?" We talked about it last week. We talked about it last week.
We talked about it last week, and I'll be doing daily audio starting this weekend on the $5 tier. So same G1 coverage that you always got behind the paywall. Going to give it a shot. You want to give a little plug-a-roo to your post thing real quick, and then
postwrestling.com. I joined Benno and Alan Cunahan, Alan Forel on a media roundtable on postwrestling.com about the G1. If you think I don't like New Japan Pro Wrestling these days, oh boy. Benno, I am the flag-waving New Japan super fan. Compared to those two guys, Benno and Alan. They are not happy with New Japan right now. So, it's a written roundtable, just a little bit of thoughts and a few questions that John Pollock gave us to answer about the G1. So that's up there at postwrestling.com. As you said, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, daily G1 audio. A lot of good stuff on voicesofwrestling.com as well. We have Chris Sampson's stats. We have Jay Michael, who does a great job kind of breaking down the card placements and what that kind of tells us about the G1. So that stuff is all up there right now at voicesofwrestling.com. And we'll have coverage as well throughout the G1 on the website as well. We just didn't get a chance in this flagship to talk about it, but it is still the G1, and we're still going to give it its due coverage. We're maybe not doing a pick-em. We're not maybe doing as much as we used to do, but we are still going to cover the G1 like better than any other website. I can promise you that.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Rev Pro High Stakes at some point this week. Can I complain about something real quick before we end this?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll tell the overlords we're going to go a little long.
So of course I'm looking for the card for this thing in one neat and tidy place.
Oh, Joe.
Silly me. So,
do you want like a website that tells you stuff?
If the card is somewhere on their website, then it's hidden so well that because I couldn't find it on their website. I type in Rev Pro High Stakes 2021 card into Google. I get 10 results. None of them have the card. It's just ridiculous. And like every other indie promotion, you got to go to their fucking Twitter page and then try to piece the card together. Rich, I'm over this shit. Can we put the cards somewhere where people can see them? You're trying to sell tickets. You're trying to sell a streaming service. It'd be nice to have the fucking card somewhere. When are these promotions going to get it? I don't understand. Are we the ones out to lunch? Does it really not matter?
No, so I have seen, initially I would say we were, but I have seen a growing sentiment, but I'm going to take credit for us doing that, of people calling promotions out and saying, hey, where the hell is your card? I saw it with GCW a couple weeks ago during All Out Weekend. People were like, what the fuck? I want to go to your show. Can't find out what's on the goddamn show. I can't figure out who's in this match, who's in the what. Like, come on, let's go. Let's figure this stuff out. I have seen a growing sentiment for that. So I think we're getting there. We're getting there.
So anyway, High Stakes is a big show, as you know.
I'm with you. I can't not. I'm on their website. I'm clicking everywhere I can.
No, you can't. No, I already went through this. You can't fucking find it. So, but if you flip through their tweets,
you go through media, go through the media section of their tweets, through a bunch of retweets.
Here's some of the card. I mean, I don't know if this is the whole card, but Aussie Open's defending both those Australian and British tag team championships. Does the I forget the name of the Australian promotion, PWA. That's where they beat the Velocities in that, damn near 5-star match.
Yeah,
months ago. And they're taking on Michael Oku and Connor Mills. So that'll be title for title, the PWA titles and the Rev Pro tag team titles. Then we have Shota Umino versus Dan Maloney, which if Shota Umino is getting his act together, that could be a really good match because Dan Maloney has been on fire. I mean, every time I watch the guy, he's in great shape.
Yeah. I hope Aminu's been hitting the cardio because he's going to look real fat next to Dan Maloney, as most men would, because Dan Maloney's in incredible shape. But
Maloney's a major league talent. It's a matter of time for him. I really believe that. I mean, his work has been excellent too. So, Shota Umino, looking forward to that. One thing about Umino is he has, according to a lot of people who go to the shows, he's still over with the fans, which is good, even though his work has been struggling and he was pulled from Resurgence and everything because of his conditioning and everything. But we'll see how he looks against Maloney. They're doing a 4-way tag, the Young Guns, who have a ton of potential. They just need to find their charisma, against Doug Williams and Brendan White. Sunshine Machine, which is TK Cooper and Chuck Mambo, and then Team. Team. Are you familiar with Team?
I don't know if I'm familiar with them. I'm looking at them right now. I actually can't even point out who these people are.
Well, it's Kenneth Halfpenny.
Oh, is that okay? All right.
And I can't remember his partner's name. Let me pull it up real quick. He's another one of the. Oh shit! I forgot. Sean Jackson is the other member of Team. So two of the. They don't call them Young Lions. I forget what they call them in Rev Pro, but same concept. So a dopey 4-way tag. I'd prefer 2 tag team matches myself. I don't know about you, but 4-way tag there. Then we've got a Yota Tsuji versus Mark Haskins.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Did you know that Tsuji turned down Lord Gideon Grey?
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Bad decision. He could have been a member of Legion, right?
I would not
and
do that.
He turned him down. He told him to go fuck himself, I think, and he got a big pop, or he cursed at him or something like that. But not only did he blow an opportunity to be part of Legion, now he's got that target on his back from Legion. That's the last thing you want. So Yota Tsuji versus Mark Haskins.
So our boy, we love Gideon Grey on Twitter. I'm looking at this. So Rev Pro tweets out the graphic of Yota Tsuji versus Mark Haskins. Somebody replies. His name is Dave. And says, great match. I actually did think it would be a match, but with the stipulation that if Yota loses, he has to join the Legion. And our boy, Lord Gideon Grey, says, forcing people to do something they don't want to do isn't cool, Dave. Tsuji, parentheses, baby, will see the lights and join the Legion because it's the right place for him.
See, so...
And he did the thing where, like we do, where you're an asshole, so you type out the guy's username. So he says, forcing people to do something they don't want to do isn't cool, Dave Sewell04. That's our gimmick, Giddy. All right?
Yeah.
Lay off that,
You type out the dopey username
right.
to shame the guy, right?
That's Gideon sticking to me. Hey, you know what? He's learning from the best. Like he teaches people, he's learning from us as well. So that's good. But
Oku's wrestling twice, I guess, because there's a 3-way match for the British Cruiserweight Championship with Robbie X and Chris Ridgway. So let me double check that. He's in that tag team title for title match, right? I didn't screw that up. No, I didn't.
No, that's him. Yeah, that's
Mills.
him.
And so I guess he's doing double duty. I haven't watched the last couple Rev shows, and I think there's one today, as a matter of fact. So I'll have to see what the deal is there. And of course, RKJ versus Will Ospreay. So I think that there's a women's.
Yeah, right.
I think there's a women's match, a women's title match.
I think isn't it Hyon versus Giselle Shaw? Is that correct?
I don't know.
It's hard to know.
Because they're not giving me a card. Fuck them. I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. Rich, it's frustrating. But Ospreay versus RKJ, which is obviously going to be great.
It is indeed 2 out of 3 falls. Hyon versus Giselle Shaw. So.
Where'd you find that? On their Twitter page?
Scrolling very far down their
Jesus
Twitter page.
fucking Christ. Right. Because if you keep going on their Twitter page, you run into the show that's happening today.
Yes, I did get that. I went past that, and that's when I found out Giselle Shaw versus Hyon. So
the pop-up show has some interesting stuff. So they split up the tag team title for title thing into singles matches. They did the New Japan gimmick. So it's Mark Davis versus Oku and Fletcher versus Connor Mills. And then they have RKJ teaming with Sunshine Machine against Ospreay and the Young Guns in a 6-man tag. So that's an interesting show to kind of warm you up for the show at York Hall. So I'm curious how the tickets do. I don't know what kind of – I hope JJ Gale and Callum Newman are on high stakes in some capacity.
Yeah, those guys are great. They need to find some way to get them in there.
And they might be for all I know, but there's no fucking card anywhere. But we already named 7 matches, so there can't be much more on the show. But We'll see how it draws in your call. I don't know what kind of COVID restrictions there are. I know OTT, they announced Ospreay for a show, and that show sold out in like 10 minutes at high ticket prices. And then the other show that they announced in the same building with lower ticket prices still has tickets remaining. So you can see the Will Ospreay effect and why all these European promotions are going to try to book them, because there's a perfect head-to-head comp. Same building, same promotion. One show has Ospreay, the other doesn't. The Ospreay show has a much higher ticket prices. That one sold out instantly.
Yeah. And
the other show still hasn't sold out. And it's a tiny room with COVID restrictions. So it's only like 200 tickets or something. And they still haven't sold out the non-Ospreay show. So we'll see how the return to York Hall goes for Rev Pro with this high stakes show, which I think is a really good lineup. So
yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, it's a good time to maybe get back into Rev Pro for myself as well, because I've kind of fallen off watching the weekly show or the monthly show, I should say. But
well, yeah, I'm a few shows behind, but everything since they restarted with fans has been good. I mean, it's typical Rev Pro, well booked. The stuff you think is going to be good is good, and they're putting an effort into making new guys.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Which I'll always appreciate a company that does that. So.
And they have to with speaking out and everything else.
Emotions to wrestling scene, yeah.
Yeah, and that all started
with the smoldering mass that was that scene. So yeah.
Yeah, and they started that with their empty building, those empty room shows that we were reviewing every time.
Yeah, RKJ is a fucking star now. Yeah, he's main event in this high stakes after being a young boy, or like you're saying. He came in that first show as just a dude.
Push, yeah. His push started there, really.
Right.
I mean, they used him before that, but his push started there. And now Newman and Gale, they're bringing along, and the young guns. Hopefully they can get them, out of the Progress WWE, circle and into here. And they brought TK Cooper back, which I think is a great move. And Maloney's a guy I think that they should try to get away, because he still works Progress shows too. You know what I mean? It's like that makes me uncomfortable, because I don't want any of these guys to go to WWE. And they got Aussie Open in now. So yeah, and of course they have, New Japan sends them guys for excursions. So you got Yota Tsuji and Shota Umino. So, Rev's back, and this is their first big show with fans, and I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. So that's Rev Pro high stakes this weekend. So yeah, as we said, a lot of good stuff coming up this weekend. A lot of good wrestling. G1 gets started. VoicesOfWrestling.com for daily, or VoicesOfWrestling.com/Patreon, I should say, for daily G1 audio. Also on the Voice of Wrestling Patreon, some new stuff coming up as well. The Yes Movement, Dan O'Brien, multi-part audio documentary I'm hopefully going to launch this weekend. CM Punk Best in the World, one episode is out. I have another one ready to go the next few days as well. So a lot of good stuff going on at patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling. Deep dives potentially in the coming weeks as well. So plenty of stuff on there for you to enjoy. Plenty of stuff at voiceofwrestling.com. Great discussion at voiceofwrestling.com/Discord. And of course, our sponsor, MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Promo code VOICES, double your first deposit. And that is it for us. So for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Craich. We'll see you next time on the Voice of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. Take care.
Football season is back. Let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool at RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. Run Your Pool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats, including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and a lot more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with one-week games, full season, playoffs, or the Super Bowl. And unlike other fantasy sports platforms, they've got options and settings to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for your local business, bar, alumni, or restaurant. The NFL season starts September 9th, so check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast or use promo code podcast at checkout. Have your pool up and running in minutes at runyourpool.com/podcast. Don't forget, today you get $10 off at runyourpool.com/podcast.